Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. I'm Colin Casey, as always, joined by Tyler Henry, and tonight, the Harwich Mariners are in Wareham to take on the Gatemen in their final game between these two teams this season. And the Mariners are actually looking to sweep that season series, trying to make it a clean 4-0 on the year. For the Mariners, they will send out Jacob Polish, who has had quite a bit of success against the Wareham Gatemen this year. He's 2-0 against them in 2 starts, and Tyler, this is a guy who just has been giving the Gatemen a lot of trouble so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, he came out and pitched the first complete game shutout of the year back against the Wareham Gatemen during a doubleheader, and it was one where he was able to go 7 complete innings. He gave up just 6 hits, didn't walk a single runner, didn't allow anybody to come across the score, and had 10 strikeouts. So a completely dominant performance out of Polish, and then, of course, the first time these two teams met in a foggy afternoon here at Spillane Field, it was a game that was really dominated once again by Jacob Polish, making his Harwich Mariner debut, as in that one he had a 4 innings pitched, gave up just the 3 hits, 1 run, but it wasn't earned, and struck out 4 compared to just 1 walk. So 2 of his best starts have come against this team, and why not? He'll be looking for a third as the Harwich Mariners look for their 4th and final victory here over a Wareham team that is no scrub. They sit atop the Western Division, the top team in the West, and they're looking to avoid the clean sweep here today.
We know we'll see Polish out here tonight. Let's look at the rest of the Harwich Mariners lineup, coached by Steve Englert. Leading things off will be center fielder Dylan Noisy out of Texas Tech. LSU's Daniel Cabrera will bat second and play left field. Cabrera, one of 3 starters in the All-Star game this year. Nico Cavadas, another, playing first, batting third. And the cleanup man, Christian Fedko, starting in the All-Star game. He will bat second. Mike Ludwig, the right fielder, will bat fifth. Chris Lanzilli, DHing, will bat sixth. Pat Winkle, the 7-hitter, will catch. At third base is Corey Acton. He will bat 8th, and Hal Hughes, the shortstop out of LSU, will bat 9th. And the Harwich Mariners lineup will be facing Cole Stetzer out of St. Joe. Stetzer actually made an appearance in the second game of the doubleheader played just about a week ago between these two teams, where he went 2 innings, giving up 3 runs, only 1 of them earned on 4 hits while striking out 1. So small sample size, but Tyler Stetzer had a little bit of trouble facing this Harwich Mariners lineup.
Yeah, he certainly did, and he's had some trouble throughout the course of the season, but we'll throw him out here in a pretty big game as the Wareham Gatemen ride a 4-game winning streak here into this game, trying to make it 5 in a row, but we'll have to get it done against a team that they've struggled with so far, and here comes Dylan Noisy to lead things off here for the Mariners.
Noisy digs in, working from the windup is Cole Stetzer. His first pitch is on the outside corner for strike 1. The Mariners wearing their traditional road navy blues with gray pants, and the Gatemen in their all-white home uniforms with red trim. 0-1 is in the same spot, and Noisy falls behind 0-2.
And this could also be the first 9-inning game between these two, as the first couple have gone less than that, 2 7-inning doubleheader games, and then, of course, a fog-out game that only went 5 innings here at Spillane Field the last time these two met.
0-2 to Noisy is hitting the air out towards right field, carrying towards the corner. Back to make the running catch is Otsuka for out number 1.
Yeah, that ball carried a lot further than I thought it was going to. It didn't look very good off the bat, but just kept drifting. It's a perfect evening here for some baseball, as it seems like the weather's going to cooperate for the first time. Last time we were here, of course, fog and some rain coming in. We were just trying to protect our equipment, but here looks like it's going to be clear skies, and that's good after what happened yesterday. Harwich needs a bounce-back game after taking a no decision technically yesterday in Kituitt.
First pitch to Cabrera misses low. As you bring up yesterday, the Mariners in 4 innings of at-bats put up 12 runs, which was 1 shy of their season high of 13, but the game discontinued due to weather conditions as Cabrera swings and misses to even the count 1-1.
Yeah, and it still seems ridiculous that in a league that is this prestigious here in the summer that they don't resume games going forward. This is the second time that Harwich has had a lead washed out by weather, but either way they'll have to get it back later this season.
Pitch just misses to Cabrera, and you know, Tyler, I think it's different at the major league level where they can afford to do that because it's 162 games with a lot more off days. Here it's just 44 games in a really tightly packed schedule, as a 2-1 is fouled right by the batter's box.
I would almost argue that that makes it more important, though, as, again, you only get 44 games, and when you put up a performance like that and you have it washed away, it can completely change the way an entire season goes. I mean, you look at Harwich, they would have had a big bounce-back win yesterday. They would have come into this looking to make it 2 in a row and continue their dominance against the West, trying to get back ahead of Brewster, but instead they're coming in here on a 2-game losing streak, looking for that bounce back game they could have had yesterday.
2-2 just misses as Stetzer not missing the zone by much, but it's going to be a full count to Cabrera.
Yep, Cabrera's going to have to be careful here, but he's looked pretty good so far, and they even moved him up into the leadoff spot yesterday, so we'll see whether his confidence continues here with a 3-2 count and whether he can work his way on base.
Payoff pitch is a breaking ball that misses high for ball four, so Daniel Cabrera, over the last couple of games, he's continued to show how patient he can be at the plate, and it's a one-out walk to begin the ball game for the Harwich Mariners.
Yep, it doesn't count, but yesterday he did reach on a walk and come around to score, and a couple days ago against Katuitt, I believe he also was able to find his way on via walk. So here comes Nico Cavada sitting in the 3-hole. He's kind of been bouncing around the top 4 spots in the lineup for this team the last couple of days. Yesterday finding himself in the 2-hole, and today he'll be down there in the 3.
First pitch to Nico is over for a strike. Cavada's having a huge second game of that doubleheader against the Gatemen, in which he had a home run. Cabrera, the runner on first, also with a big game. He had a bases-clearing triple. The pitch home, it's a check swing. The appeal goes towards second, and no swing according to the second base umpire. It's ball 1.
Yeah, not even all that close. So Cavadas is going to find himself here in a 1-1 count, and we'll see whether he stays aggressive. He's been aggressive pretty much all season long, but especially here over the course of the last 15 games.
Pitch is low, a snap throw down to first, and it's relatively close as Teeter applies a tag, but Cabrera back in time.
Yep, Cabrera taking a pretty good lead over there at first base, and this is a Wareham team that's one of the few that steals more bases than the Harwich Mariners on the season, so a lot of speed out there for both squads. Of course, Falmouth, one of the others that has just a ridiculous number of stolen bases, as they lead the league by 14.
Cavadas hits one on the ground to first, the throw to second for one, back to first, and Teeter starts it and finishes it. It's a 3-6-3 double play, and the Gatemen get out of the inning unscathed. We're through half an inning from Spillane Field. 0-0's your score. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. Back once again at Spillane Field. No score as Jacob Polish will head out once again to take on the Wareham Gatemen for the third time this season. Polish this morning was selected to the Cape Cod All-Star game as a starting pitcher, and he will face a number of All-Stars in this Wareham Gatemen lineup. Leading things off will be center fielder Matthew Rudick. Batting second and playing second is All-Star reserve Darren Baker. Starting first baseman Jacob Teeter will bat third. And then the starting designated hitter, Dallas Beaver, will bat in the cleanup spot for the West. Matt McLean will bat fifth and play short. Mike Antico batting sixth, and he will be in left. Benjamin Sems, another reserve, will bat seventh and play third. Drew Sims will catch and bat eighth, and Tora Otsuka, the right fielder, will round things out for the Gatemen. So Matthew Rudick digs in, the center fielder out of San Diego State University.
Yeah, this is a team that has been just on an absolute tear this season offensively.
First pitch to Rudick is over for a strike.
Yeah, you take a look at this offense that they've put up. They're hitting .299 as a team on the season, but just hitting .212 against Harwich Mariners pitching through 3 games. So the Mariners have really gotten the best of Wareham so far.
Chopper to second. Easy play for Fedko, and just 2 pitches and 1 quick out for Jacob Polish. And to your point, Tyler, in large part, the reason why Harwich pitching has been so good is because of this man on the mound, Jacob Polish.
Yep, Polish has pitched in 2 of those games, and in both games he went awfully deep into it, at least compared to the amount of innings that were available to be pitched. He pitched the full 7 in the doubleheader and then 4 of the 5 in the fogged out game. And of course, Harwich has limited them to just 14 of 66, a .212 average, and just 5 runs scored in those 3 games.
First pitch to Darren Baker misses inside for ball 1. The 1-0, that one catches the zone for a strike. Couple of fastballs to start off Baker. Baker hitting .326 on the season. And that pitch will miss just outside. 31 of 95. 6 runs batted in. Also has tallied 6 steals, so a lot of speed out of that second baseman. And there's another fastball to Baker. That'll even the count 2-2.
Talking about all the all the Wareham Gatemen in the All-Star game. How about all the Harwich Mariners that were named to it? As 9 different players are going to be on the roster, 7 players and 2 reserves for the Harwich squad.
Pitch at the knees, strike 3 as Baker goes down looking. So it's 2 up, 2 down to begin the first for Jacob Polish.
So for the Harwich Mariners, it'll be Daniel Cabrera in the starting lineup alongside Nico Cavadas and Christian Fedko. You already talked about Jacob Polish getting in there. How about Will Heflin, Joe Boyle, and also Connor McCullough. And then you got Joey Weimer and Chris Galland as the 2 alternates here for the Harwich squad, or for the Harwich representatives in the All-Star game. That'll be on Sunday next week.
First pitch to another All-Star starter, and Jacob Teeters over for a strike.
Of course, the one glaring difference between Harwich and Wareham is their position in their respective divisions, as this one misses low. Harwich sitting in last place by only a half a game, and Wareham sitting in first by a game and a half. Just shows you the difference in talent between the East and the West, as this is a really good Harwich team.
That pitch fouled straight back, and it's no surprise that the pitching for Harwich is well represented in the All-Star game. 4 of them, including 2 starters and 2 relief pitchers. Shows how well balanced that staff is for the Mariners, and one of the big reasons why their deficit in the basement isn't even larger, as the 1-2 just misses outside.
Well, yeah, they got a team ERA of 2.89. This team has been absolutely ridiculous when you look at pitching, and you can add on to that the fact that they've got 5 different guys with an ERA under 2.
2-2 to Teeters, a breaking ball that'll just miss inside. So full count to Teeter, who's hitting .307 on the season, 2 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Out of Florida Southern College, the payoff pitch misses low and outside for ball 4, so Jacob Teeter able to work a 2-out walk, and that will bring up another All-Star starter in Dallas Beaver.
Yeah, and that's one of the few walks we've seen Jacob Polish surrender this season, as he's had 13 strikeouts, or actually before the no-hitter, before the complete game shutout, he had 13 strikeouts to only 2 walks, and he added 10 strikeouts and no walks before that.
Yeah, that's just his 3rd walk of the season. So the first pitch from Polish goes off the glove of Pat Winkle all the way to the backstop, so Teeter will advance to second with 2 away and Dallas Beaver at the plate.
Yeah, not a ton of speed out there at second and Teeter, and with 2 away, Harwich will look to put him away, but the pass ball does put him in scoring position here for the DH in Dallas Beaver. You talked about his offensive ability so far in the 2019 season, coming into this game hitting .367.
Lefty against lefty, Polish delivers home, and that one will miss up and in.
And I think so far in all the Premier matchups where we've said, okay, this is a team with a really good offense going against Harwich pitching, those are the games that Harwich has typically been able to win. It's been the YDs and the Warehams of the league that they've really been able to come out and beat. But it's been the teams like Orleans that they've kind of struggled with that kind of match up similar to what they do.
2-0, that one's over for a strike, and Jacob Polish actually had a start against Orleans in which he pitched pretty well, went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, only 2 earned runs, 3 total, while striking out 9, but he still got the loss because the Mariners weren't able to get any runs going. 5-1 the final in that one back on June 29th. Teeter on second, the 2-1. And a swing and a pitch in the dirt by Beaver, and that'll even the count 2-2.
Yeah, 3 of the best pitchers that Harwich has had this season. Jacob Polish, you look back at Connor Seckler, and then, of course, earlier in the season, Logan Allen. Guys that only have 3 pitches. For Polish, it's just fastball, curveball, changeup, and the fastball doesn't have anything too overpowering between 89 and 91, but his off-speed has been just really, really good this year.
2-2, and that's in the dirt for ball 3.
And he looks so relaxed when he delivers it, too. I mean, a lot of guys have kind of over-the-top mechanics, a lot of exaggerated movement. For Polish, it's pretty much just get it and go. As he comes with a low set, and the big lefty kicks and delivers it home.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the home half of the first with Jacob Teeter on second. The pitch to Dallas Beaver is an inside-out swing down the left field line. It will land just foul.
And, of course, this will give us a chance to kind of set the field here at Spillane. In case you forgot, it's going to be 330 down the right field line, 412 kind of in what could be straightaway center, I guess. It's weird because you have to deal with the football field, and then, of course, down the line and left, it's just 315. There is a goalpost in foul territory, but within the field of play here at Spillane Field, and, of course, the rock gravel infield. And the only guy that I think has said anything positive about that infield was Christian Fedkos. He jogged out there and said, come on, guys, it's not that bad.
A very unique ballpark, to say the least, here in Wareham. Another payoff pitch from Polish is in there for a called strike 3, so a couple of strikeouts looking, and Jacob Polish is able to get out of the inning with no runs allowed. We're through one from Wareham. The score is 0-0. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. Top of the second, the Mariners look to strike first against Wareham Gateman. Cole Stetzer going out for his second inning of work. He pitched 2 against Harwich a couple of days ago in a blowout. 13-4, the Mariners beat the Gateman in 7 innings. So the first pitch to Christian Fedko is outside for ball 1.
Yeah, and this team is not slacked in the pitching department either, as they have a 3.5 ERA this season combined, and Stetzer contributes 5.06 of that.
Fedko out of the University of Connecticut lays off a pitch inside. He also, of course, named a starter for the East in the upcoming All-Star game, hitting .290 on the season. 1 home run, 8 runs batted in, and good amount of extra base hits, 7 total, including 5 doubles. 2-0 to Fedko, and that one's in there for a called strike.
Yeah, just the 1 home run, but it's been good to see him not trying to overpower anything, as he had the 1 ball that just narrowly tucked over the left field fence, but just putting the ball in play has kind of been his mantra this season, and it's worked out for him as he's been able to hustle out a lot of plays at first and also hit a couple balls in the gap for the 5 doubles you mentioned.
2-1, and he's way out in front of a Stetzer breaking ball to even the count. 2-2. Fedko also tied for the team lead in walks with Joey Weimer, 9 apiece.
Yep, on a team that doesn't walk a whole lot this season, last in the league. It's been good to see some patience here out of the typical three-hole hitter.
2-2 is chopped foul off to the left.
And in case you're wondering where we're at, or didn't tune in for the first broadcast that we had eventually had to punt here, we are actually in a unique spot here up in the old Raptor cage, if you will, on top of the Harwich dugout. So we got, I guess you could call it protective netting. It should keep any line shot foul balls out, but a bird's eye view here from the top of the visitors' dugout at Spillane Field.
All things considered, a pretty good view out here on the third baseline, covering the entire field. The 2-2 is popped up foul heading our way, and that will drop actually just next to the fence, as giving it a look was Benjamin Sems, but very tough play over by the wall, so Fedko will get another chance.
And the dimensions of this park are really weird because, as you mentioned, they do have to kind of cut the park off as it curves from the left field foul pole to straightaway center field. due to a goalpost out there on the high school football field. So some really, really strange dimensions here, and it can kind of play havoc, but certainly a hitter's park here for the Harwich Mariners and for the Gatemen all season long.
Stetzer's 2-2. Waved at, and he actually gets a piece of it, so it'll head to the backstop. So lengthy at bat here from Fedko to begin the second inning.
Yeah, good defensive swing by Christian Fedko, really just kind of keeping everything in tight here, and he's shortened up on the bat a bit, so trying to avoid going down. Honestly, I hate to say it, and we'll let this pitch go by first.
There's a ground ball towards third, fielded cleanly by Sems. Throw across the diamond is in plenty of time for out number one.
I gotta say, I feel like it's a bit of a snub that Joey Weimer's not a starter on the All-Star team this year. Weimer is hitting .284 this season. He's been one of the more clutch hitters on this Harwich squad, and he's been here since day one. So kind of interesting that the guy who's actually second on the team in batting average this season in a really good lineup doesn't find his way in as a traditional player, but making the alternate squad.
So the first pitch to Mike Ludwig is swung on and missed for strike one. The other two outfielders starting alongside Daniel Cabrera is Jamalo Gwynn in left and Max Troiani in center out of Chatham and Orleans respectively. A couple of guys with some pretty solid seasons as another swing and a miss by Ludwig. He's behind 0-2. So definitely a lot of talent, especially in that outfield position. And it really is a testament to how good they are when you got a guy like Joey Weimer coming off the bench in the All-Star game. The 0-2 is hit in the air out towards left center field. Moving over to make the catch is Rudick for out number two.
Well, and you've also got Nico Cavada sitting in the home run derby, which is something that I feel like a couple of weeks ago probably wouldn't have happened, but the way he's been kind of tearing the cover off the ball the last couple of days, he finds himself in there with plenty of other big names, including Tyler Hardman, one of the guys that's just been killing Harwich from the Brewster side, and get the rest of that home run derby out to you here in just a moment, but a loaded lineup in terms of power hitters here in the Cape.
Stetzer's first pitch to Chris Lanzilli is a chopper right back to Stetzer. Underhands it over to Teeter, and that will end the inning. So the Mariners go down in order, and the top of the second will head to the home half. When we come back, you're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners YouTube network. Bottom of the second from Spillane Field here in Wareham, and the Gatemen looking to strike first in the bottom of the second with Jacob Polish, a guy who has yet to give up an earned run against the Gatemen this season in what's now 12 innings pitched. So, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, a really tough guy against the Gatemen this year.
Well, and you all but confirmed that he's going to give one up here now the way our luck has been holding out here up in the broadcast booth. It seems like every time we bring up a stat like that, it goes the other way.
First pitch to Matt McLean is over for a strike. McLean selected as a reserve in the All-Star game, hitting a solid .297 on the season. And he rips that ball into right field for a base hit. So first hit of the ball game from either team belongs to Matt McLean, and he's aboard with a leadoff single to begin the second.
Yep, pretty good opposite field hitting there. So let's really quickly, as Mikey Antico comes up to the plate, let's look at this home run derby and how good this is going to be this year. So Araja New from Katuitt, who has been just hitting tanks all season long, will join TJ Collette, Hunter Goodman, Tyler Hardman, Barron Radcliffe, and of course Harwich's very own Nico Cavadas this year that could turn into a very fun home run derby at Eldridge Park very quickly.
A lot of those guys you mentioned have had home runs against the Mariners this season, and mammoth ones at that. His first pitch to Mike Antico misses outside.
As a matter of fact, now that I look at this, I think the only one that hasn't hit one out of the park yet is Hunter Goodman. But every single other one has had a home run either for or against the Harwich Mariners here in 2019.
Hardman and Collette, a couple of guys who hit multiple. And the first pitch, or the second pitch, I should say, is hit in the air on the right side of the infield. Fedko will backpedal a little bit. Now coming in to make the catch is Mike Ludwig for out number 1.
Yep, good job there by Ludwig calling off Fedko, as it looks like he was going to have to make a tough over-the-shoulder catch. So it's a traditional out here for the Harwich Mariners, and that will bring up Benjamin Sems, who is hitting down in the 7-hole today.
Sems out of Kansas, University of Kansas. I feel like it's better the other way around, though. Kansas University. You might know more about that than me, as the first pitch is actually going to be a pickoff move, and losing is Kavadas. It's going to go all the way to the wall. Matt McLean up to second. He's heading to third, and he is in there safely. So a costly error on the pickoff move, and now the first run of the ball game just 90 feet away with Benjamin Sims at the plate and 1 away.
Well, Kavadas was holding out his glove trying to block the sun. It's completely behind us, but it's still bright enough that it's shining. That's the only part of the park, really, other than the outfield, the only part of the infield that has sun coming down on it. So Kavadas was kind of trying to shield his eyes, and he had to adjust his glove to make the catch. He got a face full of sun, and that one bounces all the way back to the screen. Nobody covering, and McLean moves up to third. So the first run of the game here, just 90 feet away. So this pitch is going to miss high, and back to the University of Kansas thing. The only problem is you have Kansas State University, and it gets very confusing if you go Kansas University, Kansas State University. But either way, it's just KU to a lot of people. That's the other funny thing. The abbreviation doesn't exactly match up with the way it's said.
1-0 is over for a strike, and that error probably going to be charged to Kavadas, but again, a very tough situation for him looking for that ball as a pickoff move from Polish came over. But regardless, that's now an unearned run on third base and Matt McLean, so if Polish were able to let it in, it would still be no earned runs so far on the season. 1-1 is swung on and missed by Sems.
Sure, he'd be more than content to try to get out of this inning without giving up any, especially when you look at one of these staggering stats that I found earlier today, kind of looking through the scorebook, and saw that when the Mariners score first in a game, they're 11-6 this year. 3 of those losses came against Orleans, but when they don't, they're 1-9. So it's been a really tough time for the Harwich Mariners trying to come from behind this season.
There's a fly ball out towards shallow center. That's going to get in for a base hit. Noisy fields it, but has a little bit of trouble gathering it in, so Matt McLean scores. It's an RBI single for Benjamin Sems, 1-0 Wareham.
And not a whole lot that he could have really done about that out in center field. He did the right thing. He came charging in. He put himself in a position to make the throw, but he just kind of bobbled it a little bit, and that allows the run to come across to score. So it's a 1-0 lead here for Wareham, and now Harwich is going to have to climb their way out of this. As I just mentioned, the stat 1-9 in games where they give up the first run of the game, but we'll see whether they can have a bounce back here.
So we've got time called for a moment.
Yeah, we got a couple of Wareham players that were not in the dugout for whatever reason. So they'll be called back in, and we will resume play. And Kavadas over there on first, shielding his eyes once again, as is the runner over there in Benjamin Sems.
So from Sems to Drew Sims, the catcher, and he swings the first pitch and fouls it off to the right. Sims hitting .400, albeit in just 5 at-bats, 2 for 5, with a home run and 2 RBIs. So small sample size, but he has had a decent amount of production for the Gateman as that fastball misses low to even things up.
Yeah, for some reason the PA speaker kind of shrieked there right before the pitch, and it may have thrown Polish off a little bit as he evens the count up here at 1-1.
1 home in the inning so far for the Gateman. Sems takes his lead off first. Polish comes home. A late-breaking steal. The throw down is going to be in plenty of time, and running back is Sems. Now we've got ourselves a pickle. Kavadas catches it and tags out Benjamin Sems, who for some reason broke extremely late on that steal, and he's tagged out for out number 2.
Yeah, and he completely held up, didn't even attempt to make a slide into second base. He just kind of stopped, and he was a dead duck as Nico almost, or not Nico, but Fedko rather, almost ran him down. He kind of slipped and fell, and that'll be the end of the base running threat here as Drew Sims will stand in with nobody on.
2 balls and a strike to Sims. And the pitch from Polish is hard down the third base side, past the dive of Corey Acton into left for a base hit. Sims will take a big turn at first but retreat, so it's going to be a 2-out single to keep things alive for Wareham.
Yeah, and really quickly, let's set this for you as well. The Harwich Mariners defense this year, well, not this year, but today, they've got an all LSU left side of the field with Daniel Cabrera playing out in left today, and then Hal Hughes and Corey Acton at second or third and short.
So Polish working from the stretch. He's surrendered 3 hits in the inning. And something we haven't really seen much out of him this year is there's a ground ball through the right side, make it 4, as Toru Otsuka finds a hole for single number 4 of the inning. And now it's going to be first and second with the top of the order due up and 2 away.
Well, and once again, it's been the bottom part of the order for a lot of these teams that have really gotten to the Harwich Mariners pitchers. It seems like the best guys have kind of struggled against Harwich pitching, but it's been the guys like Toru Otsuka and Drew Sims who have gotten the job done, and they stand on first and second respectively right now. You also got to think if they didn't try to send the, well, he's got some speed, Benjamin Sims, but maybe not the fastest guy in the league. If they didn't try to send him, they could have the bases loaded with 1 away here for the top of the order.
First pitch to Rudick misses low, and even if he just got a better jump, I think he would have probably been in there because the throw beat him by about 3 steps, but he broke so late that if he had even just a halfway decent jump, I think he would have been in there in time. Polish comes set. 2 runners on, 2 away. The 1-0. That one's over for a strike. Rudick grounded out to second last inning. The San Diego State Aztec digs in from the left side. Sims at second, Otsuka at first. The pitch misses low. Not a humongous crowd here on hand in Wareham, but bleachers on the right side are pretty full, right behind home plate. And some decent amount of Harwich supporters making the almost hour drive over the bridge to watch their team play on the road. 2-1. That one catches the outside corner for a strike.
Yeah, to find the last game where the Harwich Mariners came back in a game where they gave up the first run, you actually have to go back to June 22nd earlier this year in a 2-1 victory over the Katuitt Cavaliers, that one coming at White House Field.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in inning number 2. The pitch. And that one just misses as looked like a couple of Mariners infielders were taking a step towards the dugout, but they'll do it again with a 3-2 count, 2 away, and the runners going on the pitch. Polish gets his sign. The payoff pitch. No, he's actually going to do a spin move off the mound. So Rudick will await once again. Big opportunity for the Gatemen to break this game open early with a ball in the gap. The pitch. And that ball's hit well out towards right field, but right at Mike Ludwig, who takes a couple steps in and makes a catch to end the inning. So a run comes in, but the Mariners able to prevent the big inning. After 2, it is Wareham 1, Harwich nothing. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. Cole Stetzer looks to continue his good start to this game against the Harwich Mariners, and now he's out there pitching with a lead as the Gatemen able to get a run in the bottom half of the second. 1-0 is your score as we head to the top of the third with the bottom of the order due up for the Harwich Mariners. Pat Winkle, Corey Acton, and Hal Hughes due up to bat.
Yep, and we'll see whether Harwich can put themselves in pretty good position here for the top of the order, who's done a majority of the damage this season. It's just going to be about finding ways to get these guys on base. As you mentioned, Winkle, Acton, and Hughes, not three guys that have hit for monster numbers this year, but three very capable hitters in their own right, and they'll have an opportunity to get Harwich started here in the third.
So left-handed hitting catcher Patrick Winkle out of UConn digs in, and the first pitch from Cole Stetzer is just below the knees.
We'll also see how far Stetzer goes into this game, as Harwich has done a pretty good job of getting to opposing bullpens earlier in games, or at least playing against teams that are content to pull the starter earlier.
1-0 is hit in the air to the left side, and that one will fade out of play. Spillane Ballpark located just behind the Wareham High School, home of the Vikings. Middle school also right on the premises, so good facilities in terms of sports, as there's a ground ball to first and a bit of a tough hop, but a nice play by Teeter to glove it with that right hand, and Pat Winkle's retired for out number one.
Yeah, so here comes Corey Acton, who has the potential to change the game with one swing of the bat. Acton has one of 7 guys to have a home run so far this year on the team, but it's one of only 3 hits he's manufactured this year. So see whether or not he adjusts his approach here at the plate and tries to focus on just putting the barrel on the ball, or whether he tries to tie it up.
First pitch to Acton misses up and away. The 1 home run coming at Orleans in the second inning of the first game between these two teams in Orleans. Gave the Mariners a lead at the time, but they were unable to hold it as Firebirds would come back and win 7-2 that day. And that pitch misses outside to make it 2-0. Acton 3 of 22 so far this season. 3 walks as well. Good enough for a .269 on base percentage, and that pitch is over for a strike. On deck for the Mariners is Hal Hughes, who's been swinging a really hot bat lately in the game that didn't count yesterday. Had himself quite the start to that game with a double and a walk, as that ball is chopped foul.
Well, a double, a walk, and I believe 2 runs scored for the Harwich Mariners as well, so he really kind of stepped up and showed what he can do. But like everybody else's great day, and I do mean everybody else, maybe with the exception of Joey Weimer, who was 0 for 3, everything is going to be washed out. So none of those stats count, and everybody's going to have to try to make something out of a different day against a different team here.
2-2 to Acton, misses up and in, so he's run the count full on Stetzer. Digs back in. Stetzer continues to work from the windup. Here is the 3-2. Swung on and missed strike 3 as Drew Sims applies the tag, so Corey Acton strikes out swinging, and it has been 8 batters faced and 8 retired so far for Cole Stetzer, 2 away in the third.
Yep, he did give up the walk to Daniel Cabrera, but Nico Cavadas grounded into a double play, so the minimum has been faced so far, and here comes Hal Hughes, who, as you mentioned, has been hitting a lot better as of late. It seems like the last week or so, he's really been seeing the ball a lot better.
First pitch to Hal's on the outside corner. That was actually just the first strikeout so far for Cole Stetzer, so he's been able to generate weak contact. Nothing really too hard hit so far from the Mariners. 0-1 to Hughes is lined foul just past third base bag.
Yeah, just kind of had to reach out and make contact with that one as he pulls it down the line, but it's harmless here. He'll fall behind 0-2, and Stetzer's going to look for another strikeout to get out of the inning unscathed and continue his reign of terror here, as he will look to go through the minimum faced here for the first time through the order.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, so after no strikeouts to the first 7 batters, Stetzer with back-to-back Ks to end the top of the third. After 2.5 from Wareham, it is the Gatemen 1, the Mariners nothing. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. Bottom of the third, set to begin. Darren Baker will lead things off for the Wareham Gatemen as they look to extend their 1-0 lead against Jacob Polish. Still have not gotten an earned run off of Polish in what is now his third start, as Baker showing a bunt, tries dragging it down the first baseline, but he fouls it straight back.
Yeah, trying to make something happen here as his team has been able to really kind of get into Harwich, but you mentioned any inning where you have 4 hits in an inning and only come up with 1 run is a little bit strange. Harwich got out of some trouble back in the last inning.
Baker swings and misses to fall behind 0-2. Darren Baker, who's been kind of prone to the strikeout this season, leads the team right now with 24 and is in danger of number 25. The 0-2 is fouled off to the left.
I keep wondering whether we're going to get a foul ball out here. Certainly in the right position on top of the dugout. All it takes is some soft contact, but could very well go the entire season without seeing one.
Another 0-2 from Polish is in the dirt, and thankfully we won't have to be prepared for any line drives with all the netting around here, or else we might be in a bit of trouble.
There's a tiny hole here, but I don't think it's going to find its way through.
1-2 is fouled straight back off the catcher.
There we are. Alex is holding his hand out in front of it. He'll take care of it. He doesn't need his left hand to hold the camera and take photos. So Jacob Polish will get back to work here with a 1-2 count, looking to strike out Darren Baker for a second time today. Baker looking to get on base for the first time.
Check swing at a ball low, an appeal, and third base umpire says he held up 2-2.
And a umpiring crew that we're getting familiar with here. Mark Delaney behind home plate, Rob Del Point over at first base, and then Rick Emerson down the third base line.
Polish from the windup, 2-2 is fouled off yet again, so Baker with another lengthy at-bat after taking 5 pitches back in the first inning. He's now worked it to, I believe this is going to be the 7th pitch coming up. Another 2-2 from Jacob Polish. It's in the dirt for ball 3. Baker only 6 walks drawn on the season. 3-2 is a slow roller towards first. Cavadas has it. He'll take it there himself. So Baker is retired for out number 1 to begin the bottom of the third.
Yeah, and this is one of the few teams in the league that has more stolen bases than the Harwich Mariners coming into this game. They have 36 on the season compared to Harwich, who is one of the top teams in the league. They've got 28 themselves, but the real impressive number is Falmouth, who have over 45 stolen bases. And get this, they've played in 3 fewer games than both the Mariners and the Gatemen this season.
Definitely a fast team this year for the Falmouth Commodores as Jacob Teeter lays off the first pitch for ball 1. He was the first base runner of the game for the Gatemen back in the first, reached via a walk.
Yeah, Teeter helping out that team, 299 average. He's hitting 307 on the year, so one of the more capable guys here as Polish's 1-0 pitch will miss low and inside.
Here's the 2-0, and that one misses low again, so he's in danger of walking Teeter in back-to-back plate appearances.
Yeah, the last time Teeter got on, it was with 2 away, and he was unable to come across and score despite moving into scoring position on a pass ball, but certainly the danger is always there, and you don't want to put anybody on for free here.
3-0 is over for a strike. Teeter, with that first inning walk, is now tied for the team lead in walks with Matt McLean. So 2 of the more patient hitters in this Gateman lineup. The 3-1. Ground ball towards second, Fedko in front of it. Sidearms it over to Cavadas for out number 2.
And that'll bring up Dallas Beaver, who's 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. Beaver, one of the all-stars, as you mentioned, on this team, hitting 367. Of course, the team leader is Drew Sims, who's hitting a cool 400. And oddly enough, he finds himself down there in the 8-hole today.
So Beaver, the left-handed designated hitter, struck out looking to end the first. And he'll watch a first pitch fastball from Polish on the outside corner for a strike. And that pitch misses to even the count 1-1. The Gatemen coming off a 4-game winning streak into this game, so they've been playing some of their best baseball all season long. 1-1 way out in front of the changeup is Beaver.
Yeah, including a big-time victory over the Brewster Whitecaps last night. They trailed 5-0 going into the 7th inning, but rallied back, took it to extras, and were able to walk it off here at Spillane Field.
That'll miss to even the count 2-2.
That was helpful for Harwich, though, as the one thing the Whitecaps had over the Mariners, in addition to that 1 point, was that they hadn't played in they played in 2 fewer games. But with that, and Harwich not playing yesterday, that's down to 1 as this pitch is fouled back to the screen. Brewster is at 12-13-1, Harwich at 12-15. So the Whitecaps just hold a 1 point lead, and they've only played in 1 fewer game than the Harwich Mariners.
2-2 from Polish is chopped towards short, gloved by Hughes. The throw on the run is in time for the out, so it's 3 groundouts to end the 3rd inning for Jacob Polish and the Harwich Mariners. After 3 full, it is Wareham 1, Harwich nothing. You're listening to the Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back to Spillane Field. Scores 1-0 after 3 innings. A quick reminder that this edition of Harwich Mariners Baseball is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Cape Cod Healthcare has 4 convenient locations on the Cape, including one right here in our home in Harwich. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.com.
So here we go for a 4th inning of play. It'll be the Harwich Mariners coming up to bat here. Do you know where those other 3 locations are, Colin?
Let's see. There's one in Falmouth. There's one in Chatham.
No. There's one in Wareham. Wareham.
Well, Wareham, yep.
And not Bourne.
Yep.
Mashpee.
Okay.
So we work our way here to the 4th inning of play as the Harwich Mariners will send the top of the order up again. First time through, it was the minimum faced for Cole Stetzer, who's back out there for another inning of work. The big righty getting the job done so far here for the Wareham Gatemen, but Harwich will look to change that as they'll go through the second time, and Dylan Noisy, who flew out to right his first time up, steps in now. First pitch to Noisy's going to miss right around his head. That one awfully dangerous as he'll take a second to kind of think things over, and falling behind 1-0 here, Stetzer.
Yeah, Stetzer looking a lot better than he did in that 2-inning performance he had against Harwich the last time these two teams played.
This one's going to be hit high in the air out to right field. Tracking it down is Otsuka, and he'll make the catch for out number 1. So here comes Daniel Cabrera, the only guy for the Harwich Mariners today who has been able to reach, and he was able to get there on a walk, that coming back in the 1st inning. Nico Cavadas looms on deck. He grounded into a double play, and he'll look to improve here, but Daniel Cabrera trying to find his way on for the 2nd time today. The first pitch he sees is going to be grounded. That one's going to have a chance, but it won't. Sliding in, making the catch, and throwing off the bag. It's going to get past, so Daniel Cabrera is going to advance as Baker came over, made a great sliding stop, and then threw it to Teeter at first. It goes past Teeter, and it's going to be a hit here for the Harwich Mariners.
Yeah, and I can see why they called that one a hit, because it took a Herculean effort by Darren Baker to even get to that ball. He had to slide right on the shallow right field grass. And it looked like he had time to get Cabrera over at first, but unfortunately the throw got away. But luckily for Baker, no error charged to him.
So here comes Nico Cavadas. Last time he was in the same spot, 1 out. Runner on first, it was Daniel Cabrera. This time, though, he will rake one into deep straightaway center field. It is back. It is gone. Harwich will retake the lead 2-1 here at Spillane Field, and it's courtesy of the 5th Nico bomb of the year. A 2-run shot to straightaway center.
Well, you can see why this guy's been selected to the home run derby. The way he just drives the baseball, and he's been so aggressive all season long. He didn't wait at all. First pitch he saw, he hammered it over the right center field fence. And now all of a sudden, we talked about how much trouble that Harwich had coming back in these games, and they've already retaken the lead here in the top of the fourth.
So that'll bring up Christian Fedko here, but the whole game changes for the Harwich Mariners as they now hold a 1-run lead. For Nico Cavadas, that's home run number 5, and with that, he now has as many home runs as the rest of the active roster combined, as Cavadas will hit this one right at the shortstop. McLean picks it up, throws across, and it's going to be in time for out number 2.
Yeah, that pitch looked like it was actually towards the outside part of the plate from Stetzer. I think that's where he wanted on the outside corner, but it ended up being middle away, and good extension from Cavadas, and he hits it over that right center field wall. I would say it's almost about 400 feet out there with the way this fence juts out, so definitely not a cheap one at all from Nico Cavadas.
So that'll bring up Mike Ludwig, who flied out to center. He will rip one into the gap. That's going to get down in right center field. It'll be picked up by the center fielder, Matthew Rudick. And the bats keep going here for Harwich. They finally found the magic they had a day ago as Ludwig is on here with 2 outs.
A good piece of hitting from Mike Ludwig, something we saw earlier in the season from him. He was kind of a catalyst at the beginning of the year, getting on base and giving the Mariners opportunities to drive them in. Didn't really happen that much, but as of late, it's been a whole different offense for the Harwich Mariners. Let's see if they can have yet another 2-out rally.
So Cavadas actually has 1 more home run than the active roster. I was thinking of the Chris Lanzilli home run from a day ago that did not count, as a throw over to first is not going to be in time, trying to keep Ludwig close. So with Lanzilli's home run not counting, Colin, can you name the other 6 Harwich Mariners who have hit a home run this season without looking at the stat sheet?
Weimer, Cabrera. We're counting Jackson Greer?
We are
correct?
counting Jackson Greer. As this pitch is going to come in, that's going to be a breaking ball in there for strike 2, or for strike 1.
Acton was 1 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 1 more, correct?
2 more.
2 more, okay. Give me a second.
You're good. That'll also give a second here to Cole Stetzer, who will throw over to first once again.
Tyler Keenan also hit one right here in Wareham.
He sure did. So you're only missing 1 more. As standing in is Chris Lanzilli, whose home run from a day ago did not count. He will send this one same exact spot as Ludwig's hit. He's going to turn here for third, and he's going to be there easily. So the line keeps moving here for the Harwich Mariners. They've got runners at the corners with 2 away, and the 2-out hitting parade continues here for Harwich.
Yesterday, even though the game didn't count, we saw some phenomenal opposite field hitting by Chris Lanzilli, where he sent that home run over the right center field fence. This time he's able to just kind of go the other way with it once again and drop one out into right center field. So now with runners at the corners, here comes Pat Winkle, a guy who's driven in a good amount of RBIs this season, but right here he's going to need a hit to bring home that huge 3rd run of the inning.
Yep, runners at first and third here. Pat Winkle standing in at a pretty big spot. Harwich looking for a few more insurance runs. They've got Ludwig on third and Lanzilli over there on first. Here comes the first pitch, and swinging away, sending this one out into left field, and that's going to get down on the right side of the line. It's going to score a run here. It was a little flare, and it looked like it may have trailed foul, but that one's going to stay in play, and the Mariners are out to a 3-1 lead here.
Hey, I mean, they all count the same. Not great contact at all by Winkle, but it just drops right in front of Mike Antico out in left. Couldn't get there in time, and there's a big insurance run. The Mariners with a 2-run lead now in the 4th.
A 2-run lead here for Corey Acton. Would you like the last Harwich Mariner who hit a home run this season?
Oh, my God. I'm trying to think. And
you already named Corey Acton, Daniel Cabrera. You got the Nico Cavadas, obviously. And then you named Joey Weimer.
Acton.
And you already got the 2 that aren't on the active roster, and Jackson Greer and also Tyler Keenan as the first pitch will miss inside. Diving out of the way there was Corey Acton. So there's 1 more Harwich Mariner that I did not just name that you're still missing.
Huh. Get back to me on that one.
All right. You don't want it now?
Nope.
All right. So Corey Acton, who had one of the aforementioned home runs, stands in now. Harwich just looking for another hit to continue the inning, and he will dig in 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. He'll watch a breaking ball in there for a called strike to even it up.
Christian Fedko.
Christian Fedko,
yep.
Very good. So that's everybody who's hit a home run here for Harwich, and on the active roster, taking 2 of those away with Tyler Keenan, and then, of course, Jackson Greer, who's having a heck of a season out at Bourne right now. Quick throw down to second. That's going to get past the outstretched arm of Matt McLean, and it's going to be runners at the corners again as Chris Lanzilli will take third. How about that?
Yep. Bad pickoff throw there from Stetzer, and not a huge advancement there because you think Lanzilli might be able to score on a base hit with his speed, but I mean, still just another self-inflicted mistake by the Gatemen, and they're kind of letting this inning really get out of hand, so they really need to pick up an out with Acton at the plate.
So they set the double play or the double steal defense up here as Drew Sims comes out from behind the catcher's crouch, but Corey Acton will look for his first hit in quite some time. Just 3 for him on the season. Here comes the next pitch, and that one will miss outside to make it a 2-1 count here.
This is another inning for the Mariners where they've seemingly almost sent everyone to the plate. The eighth man to bat this inning. Hal Hughes the only one who hasn't, waiting in the on-deck circle.
Runners on the corners, a 2-1 count here for Cole Stetzer, who kicks and delivers big swing and a miss. Acton trying to drop one over the 330 sign, and he is even the count here at 2-2.
Yep, same distance to right field here at Spillane Field as White House Field, but fence a little bit taller. I'd say about 3 feet taller out in right field.
Kind of the one thing they try to use to compensate for that a little bit. Here comes the pitch. That's going to miss high and well inside as the count is going to be loaded up here on Corey Acton, and you got to think a walk would also be helpful with how he was coming up. Standing on deck. Get you updated on other games going on right now in the Cape here in just a moment, but first a big AB coming up for Corey Acton. 2 away, runners at the corners. Harwich up by 2. Taking off is Pat Winkle, and this one's going to be fouled away. Payoff pitch, we'll stay right where we're at. So Acton digs in, hitting from the right side. Looking to break out of a slump here, hitting just 136 on the season. Winkle will take off again, and it's going to be swung through and missed. Corey Acton down on strikes for a second time today, and that will end the inning, but not before the Harwich Mariners strike for 3 runs. They take the lead back from the Wareham Gatemen, and they hold the 3-1 lead here at Spillane Field. When we come back, it'll be the Wareham Gatemen's turn to try to get the runs back here on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back to Spillane Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey as we go here to the bottom of the 4th, and plenty of other Cape games going on. This is actually the latest game, so a lot of other games have already been in action for quite some time, including a game between the Brewster Whitecaps and the Falmouth Commodores. That's maybe the most important to Harwich today. The Whitecaps hold a 2-1 lead. That game is going into the top of the 7th. Out there at Hyannis, it's a 3-2 lead for the Chatham Anglers. Bourne is trailing Catuit 1-0, and then the Whitey Red Sox and Orleans Firebirds are in a pitcher's duel. It seems like we've heard that out of Orleans an awful lot. Actually, quick update, as Colin beats Twitter, it's a 5-0 lead for the Orleans Firebirds.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a look and see what happened there, because you were right. It was a relatively low-scoring game. I believe it was 1-0.
I think it was
at some point.
Yeah, last check I saw it was 0-0, but yeah, you're right. One run scored in the first, 4 in the second.
I just smell a grand slam, honestly, and I'll have to double-check and see if that was the case. And it's actually a 3-run home run off the bat of Zach Britton. So
you were oh so close. So Matt McLean will come up here to lead things off for the Wareham Gatemen. He scored the only run of their second inning and the only run of the game so far, as the first pitch he sees is a fastball from Polish that's going to be in there for a called strike. McLean had the single, and then a pickoff move over to Nico Cavadas was lost in the sun. He advanced to third, as here he'll take one right at Acton at third, who will pick it up, take a couple steps, and fire over to first in time for out number 1.
Yeah, that ball hit pretty hard, but McLean unable to find a hole, and Acton smoothly picks that ball up and makes a clean throw to first. So Jacob Polish has seemingly settled down after a couple of shaky first couple of innings, and it's now 5 straight retired going back to the second.
So here comes Mike Antico, the junior out of St. John's University from Colts Neck, New Jersey. First pitch he sees, he's going to bunt that one high in the air and right back at Jacob Polish. Well, that's about the easiest out you could hope for, and that'll be the second out of the inning.
Yeah, he tried dragging that one, and The problem there was it seemed like he wasn't sure to bring it down the third or first base line, and he ended up right in the middle. So it was hit pretty hard. It came off the bat pretty hot, and Polish just kind of had to stick his glove up and was like, "Thank you very much." So 2 away now in the fourth.
And here comes Benjamin Sims out of the University of Kansas. Sims hitting .289 on the year. First pitch on its way, and that'll be in there for a called strike. Interesting that we're not seeing Jack Blomgren in there today, the late arrival out of Michigan. He's played in just one game so far, as this one's going to be swung on and missed, and Polish is out to an 0-2 lead here on Ben Sims.
There's actually a lot of guys missing in that Gateman lineup that we're used to seeing, including starting All-Star Braden Ward.
This one will miss low and inside. Braden Ward, one of the reasons this team has been so threatening on the base paths this season, is he has stolen 17 bases. That is absolutely ridiculous. As this one's fouled away, it'll stay a 1-2 count. To put that in perspective, Harwich is fourth in the league in stolen bases. They have just 11 more than Braden Ward has all by himself.
And 36 total for the Gateman, so he's got almost half of his team's total.
It's insane. So with a 1-2 count, Jacob Polish will take a step off the rubber and think this one over, trying to be cautious here against Benjamin Sims, one of three in a row in the lineup who took him back up the middle for a single, and this one's going to come in and it's going to hit Sims. So boy, he did the hard work. He got ahead of him, but he's going to put him on base with a hit by pitch, and Sims will jog down and take his base.
Yeah, and back to Ward, I mean, if you're going to be able to steal 17 bases, you also have to get on base a lot, and he certainly has with a .398 on base percentage. And he's even got a little bit of power, too. 3 home runs, 15 runs batted in, so just a complete center fielder, and it's no question that he's going to be starting for the West out in center.
So here comes Drew Sims. He had a single back in the second inning, and here he'll hit with a runner on base. He does represent the tying run here early in this meeting, and the first pitch he sees, he'll foul back behind the shed here. And Colin, of all the fields in the entire league, I think this one feels the most like a high school field, despite the fact that most of them are high school fields.
Yeah, you know, it's got kind of that old school feel to it, like a varsity baseball field.
As the 0-1 pitch is going to be in there for strike 2, and you call it old school, I call it 3A. Looks like the field that I grew up playing on. Is you kind of have the shed and the equipment storage off to the right side. You got the football field off to our left, the goalposts kind of sticking up there, and you just make do with the space you have, as this one is skied high in the air out to right field. Plenty of time for Ludwig to settle under it and make the catch to end the inning. So Harwich will come back up, looking to pad onto their 2-run lead. They're up 3-1 when we come back in the 5th inning of play here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to Spillane Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey as we go here to the 5th inning. Harwich looking for some more runs after a monster 4-inning. Also courtesy of a Nico Cavadas 2-run shot. And this one did not come off of a fastball. Actually confirmed it with him ourselves, as that's one of the conveniences of standing up here on the visitors' dugout. It was a changeup, but still a straight pitch. And he took it deep to straightaway center field for his 5th home run of the year. That puts him in 2nd place in the league behind only one man, Colin.
Yep, and that one man is Austin Wells, the starting catcher in the All-Star game for the Eastern Division, has 6 home runs for the YD Red Sox, and it's a bit of a logjam now. 4 guys tied in 5th, including just pretty much everyone in the home run derby. Hardman, Collette, Goodman, and now Nico Cavadas.
But not Austin Wells.
Hmm.
So the league leader in home runs is not going to be participating in the home run derby, and you wonder whether that was a choice or whether they just left him out, as Hal Hughes stands in for a second time today. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. But again, the Harwich Mariners able to bounce back and have a monster 4th, able to retake the lead, and they'll look for a few more runs as Hughes stands in, and he'll watch the next pitch miss down in the dirt. So it's a 2-0 count here as Cole Stetzer's out there for another inning.
You look at YD just in general, they've got a lot of talented bats, and that's why I think they're going to be a team to watch going forward once it comes towards the playoffs, including Wyatt Young, who's hitting .367 on the season, 29 for 79.
Well, and of course, the question has to be whether or not they can sustain the business model they have of all hitting and no pitching, as this one is taken out into shallow left field. It'll be tracked down by the shortstop, Matt McLean, and he'll glove it for out number 1.
So one shortstop pops out to the other to begin the top of the 5th, and now the Mariners will turn over the lineup card once again. Dylan Noisy will get his 3rd opportunity.
Yep, Noisy actually led things off in the 4th inning. He flied out to right, the second time he's done that today, but after that, it was all offense for Harwich as Daniel Cabrera singled, Cavadas with a 2-run bomb, Ludwig, Lanzilli, and Pat Winkle with back-to-back-to-back singles. First pitch is going to be in there for called strike 1 to Dylan Noisy, finding himself here once again in the leadoff spot. He's kind of bounced around the order as well. A guy we've seen as high as leading off and as low as the 8 hole, and the 0-1 pitch is going to be swung on and missed by Noisy. He's fallen behind here 0-2.
Good life on the fastball from Stetzer, and outside of that 4th inning, he has pitched very well so far, but again, just that one mistake to Nico Cavadas, and it seems like it's just one mistake to Nico Cavadas that has ruined a ton of pitcher starts this season.
This one's going to be off speed, and that will miss just low. Yeah, I mean, it's just the one mistake pitch, but he's made him pay. And keep in mind, he's done this damage not really over the course of the entire season, as he only had the 1 home run throughout the first half of it, but he has just been on a tear going after opposing pitching. As this one's going to be popped high in the air, this will stay on the infield. Once again, it's going to be Matt McLean, and he'll come in near the infield grass to make the catch here for out number 2. So that'll bring up Daniel Cabrera, the aforementioned Cavadas standing on deck, but Cabrera's had a pretty good day. He's reached base twice, once on a walk, once on a hit. Came around to score the first run of the game back in the 4th inning on that 2-run home run, and he'll try to get things started for a Harwich team that has done an excellent job here in 2-out situations. First pitch is going to be in there for a called strike. That one's going to be off speed out of the hand of Cole Stetzer, the big righty, having a pretty good start other than, as you mentioned, the couple of big hits he's allowed. Out of the windup, here comes Stetzer's pitch, and that's going to be taken up the middle. That'll be a base knock here for Daniel Cabrera, and much like we saw back in the 4th inning, he finds himself on for Nico Cavadas.
Yep, and this kind of performance so far from Cabrera is a reason why he's in the All-Star game. I mean, he came in hitting .298, but an on-base percentage of .385. So he's just found ways to get on base, whether it be a walk or a hit. He's now 2 for 2 with a walk today and a run scored.
So here comes Cavadas out there rocking the green and gold cleats as he has been all season long, repping the Notre Dame gear. Here comes the first pitch out of the stretch, and that one's going to be popped high in the air and out of play.
That's always scary when we have no idea where the ball is, but we know it's coming our way.
That one, I believe, dropped somewhere behind us onto the pavement, so the count is 0-1 here on Cavadas. Again, the Harwich Mariners have done some of their best work here with 2 away, and this is the 3rd time today that Cabrera has been standing on first. Cavadas grounded into a double play and then hit the 2-run home run. Here he'll watch a pitch miss high and inside, and the count is even here at 1-1. Nico leading the team in RBIs this season, also leading the team in home runs by quite a wide margin. He hit his 5th earlier today. Off-speed pitch will miss low and outside, and the count is 2-1.
Those 2 RBIs will put him in a tie for 4th with Caden Polkovich for the league lead in runs batted in. Hunter Goodman currently the leader for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks with 24.
Cole Stetzer delivers the pitch. This one's going to be hit once again high in the air. That one's going right behind us as well, and that will get down. Take a skip off the window, and boy, you really got to be careful. And credit to the woman behind us here, as she was kind of holding her child, in her arms and crouching over the top. It actually went off of her shoulder, so a heads-up play here by a spectator behind us.
Luckily, that ball lost a lot of velocity, too, hitting the pavement first instead of coming directly down.
Well, and you kind of lose the view, too, as you have the Harwich dugout right in front of you. Taking off as the runner. It's a high pitch. Good throw down to second, but the tag is not in time. And Daniel Cabrera moves up into scoring position here with 2 away.
Yeah, the issue on that play was McLean, when he tried getting that tag, he was kind of in motion, so his momentum took him away, so he had to kind of bring his glove up for a split second, and that allowed Cabrera to get under the tag. So Daniel Cabrera showing off his speed, his 4th steal of the season.
So another stolen base for Daniel Cabrera. He's in scoring position with a 3-2 count. Here comes Cole Stetzer's payoff pitch, and that one's going to be taken into deep right field. It's back, and it's gone again. Nico Cavadas with his 2nd home run of the day, and once again, it's a 2-run shot that will score himself and Daniel Cabrera. The Mariners are up 6-1.
Move over, Austin Wells. You have company, as Nico Cavadas is now tied for the league lead in home runs, and he's now tied with Wells in RBIs too. So Nico Cavadas just continues this hot streak. I think that's now 5 home runs in his last 8 games, which is absurd, and he's rightfully showing why he's a starter in this All-Star game.
He may have broken an 11-game hitting streak the other day, and boy, he has bounced back nicely. A hit yesterday and 2 hits today, both of them out of the yard, taking advantage of the dimensions here at Spillane Field. And actually, a correction to make, it's 5-1, not 6-1. So here comes Christian Fetko, and he'll watch this one in there for strike 1. But once again here, Colin, 2-out hitting propels Harwich.
It's amazing the way they've been hitting the ball with 2 outs all season long, even when they struggled earlier in the year. Most of their runs coming on 2 outs.
This one's going to miss low, and how about this simultaneous home runs? Just a minute ago, we get the alert on Twitter that Winkler has hit a home run here for the Falmouth Commodores, and they're now tied up 2-2 with the Brewster Whitecaps. Of course, Brewster sitting a half a game ahead of Harwich right now in that Eastern standing, as this one's going to be fouled away, and that'll take a sharp hop just over the Harwich dugout. So falling behind to 1-2 here is Christian Fetko.
And even a tie for the Whitecaps would be good news for the Mariners, because they could at least put themselves in a tie for 4th place with a victory.
So the Harwich Mariners have scored 5 runs today, and 4 of them have come on 2 Nico Cavadas home runs. Here's Christian Fetko taking one out to deep left center, but that's going to stay in the yard, and it's going to be easy for Rudick out there in straightaway left center. So that'll be the 3rd out of the inning, but once again, a Nico Cavadas home run gives Harwich 2 more runs, and they take a 5-1 lead as we go to the home half of the 5th here on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Spillane Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey. The Harwich Mariners looking to make it an even sweep here of the Wareham Gatemen. They come in here 3-0 against Wareham, and they've got a 5-1 lead as Tora Atsuka stands in. First pitch he sees will be fouled away. Back out there for another frame is Jacob Polish, and it's been the Wareham killer out there for the Harwich Mariners, as he's already gotten 2 victories against this Wareham squad. Looking to make it a third. From the windup, here's Polish's pitch. That one's going to miss low and outside, and the count is even here at 1-1.
And I think the Gatemen are hoping that this is going to be the last game they see against the Mariners this season if they end up making the championship. I think their preference would be anyone other than the Mariners.
This pitch will miss down in the dirt. I know their broadcasters are getting sick and tired of seeing us as every time. It's like, oh boy, here we go again. The top team in the Western Division, they come into this game at 16-11-1. That's good enough to be first place in the West. And against the East this year, this is a team that has gone 9-7-1 as this is taken into left center field, and that's going to be caught by an Cabrera who goes over and makes the catch. But yeah, they're 9-7-1 against the East, but 0-3 against the Harwich Mariners.
I heard the little hesitation before he said Cabrera, and I can see why, because he really hasn't played a lot of left field this year.
He hasn't, typically playing out there in right field, but this is the second time this year that he's gotten the start out in left, and he's able to make the catch there to retire Tora Otsuka. So here comes Matthew Rudick, who is 0 for 2 today, a ground out and a fly out. First pitch he sees is going to be off speed, looked like a curveball from Polish. And let's go back to that Nico Cavadas home run, the second one of the day. It was another changeup call in the same pitch that he hit the first time around. And boy, what do you throw this kid? You can't throw him fastballs. He's taking those over the yard, as this one is going to be taken up the left side and into left field for a hit. But I mean, you can't throw him a fastball, but you throw him 2 changeups and he takes 2 balls out of the yard.
Yeah, it's just really catch-22. You either kind of put him on base via a walk, which might sound like a better option at this point. Maybe, on a 3-2 pitch with 2 away, skip one in the dirt and hope he goes after it. But, yeah, as you mentioned it, even if you throw a fastball to him, honestly, if he's sitting on it, all it means is it's just going to be a longer home run for you.
So that is going to be hit number 6 of the day here for the Wareham Gatemen. And this pitch will be fouled away by Darren Baker. And one thing that I've just noticed, Colin, right behind us we have a brick building, and we talked about this last broadcast, but the one thing we did not talk about is the amount of glass. There is a gigantic portion of the side of this building that is made of glass, and we got to wonder how many times those windows have had to be replaced throughout the course of this school and the course of the Cape League, whichever came first. As the 0-1 pitch will be just off the plate for ball 1.
Yeah, it's one of those. There's a couple of fields that are nearby with schools, but I think this is the one that's really the closest from the actual playing surface. It's about a 20-foot gap from behind the third base dugout to the school. So yeah, a lot of windows in danger as Jacob Polish with a throw over to first.
Yeah, maybe the only time where we hear the glass breaking sound, that it's not somebody just playing the audio bit over the PA system. But either way, it'll be a 1-1 count here as Jacob Polish will focus up on Darren Baker. Baker's 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and a ground out, and the pitch that he sees is going to be in there for strike 2.
Baker looking to rebound after an 0 for 2 start. Hasn't really looked like himself at the plate in this game.
So we'll see whether he can straighten the bat up here and maybe find his way on base, his team needing some runs, as Polish delivers the next pitch, and he just barely is able to get a piece of the high fastball and foul it back to the screen to keep it at a 1-2 count. So it'll be a 1-2 count once again here. Third time we've seen this, as Polish will throw over to first. Cavadas not having to fight off the sun, and he will collect that for a third time this at bat. Here comes the next pitch, and that one's going to be fouled away into the stands. So Baker's doing a good job of fighting it off here. He has been able to battle against Jacob Polish and trying to avoid being a strikeout victim for the second time today.
And he's really done that in all 3 at-bats so far, but he hasn't had the ending to any of them that he's wanted. But, with a man on first, 1 out, just a ball in the outfield to keep the inning going can maybe give the Gatemen a chance to chip away at this lead.
Score is 5-1 here. Harwich leading it. Here comes the 1-2 pitch, and that one is just barely going to miss low, I guess. Not really sure where that one missed, as hopefully an umpire, Mike Delaney, will make it a 2-2 count here. Looked like a really good pitch from Polish, but they're going to let the at-bat continue. Here comes the 2-2. Check swing, and he went. So that'll be strike 3. Going down on strikes for a second time today is Darren Baker, and with 2 away, that'll bring up Jacob Teeter, who was 0 for 1 today, but reached on a walk back in the first inning.
Yeah, there's a big second out from Polish. Basically the second best outcome other than a inning-ending double play. But with two away, it's important to only have, at the very least, one man on base with Jacob Teeter at the plate. We know he's capable of showing some power, and he's got a lot of space down that right field line if he can yank one down there.
So the first pitch is going to be taken right at the shortstop. It'll be caught by Hal Hughes, and that'll end the inning for the Harwich Mariners. We go to the sixth. Harwich with a 4-run lead when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back to Spillane Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey as we go here to the sixth inning of play, and a new pitcher coming into the game here for the Wareham Gatemen. It'll be William Fleming, who will take a look at what he has done so far this season. Fleming comes into this game with an 0-2 record, a 7.07 ERA, and in the 14 innings that he has pitched, he's surrendered 24 hits, 11 runs, all of them earned, and has struck out 14 compared to just the 5 walks. So it'll be another righty here for the Harwich Mariners to try to jump on, and we'll see whether they can continue their success against Wareham pitching.
And this will be interesting for Fleming. First two guys he's going to face are a couple of his college teammates in Mike Ludwig and Chris Lanzilli at Wake Forest. So we'll see if he kind of knows some of the tendencies of those two hitters, and we'll see if Ludwig and Lanzilli have been doing their homework about William Fleming.
Well, and again, the mind games kind of continue here, as you can argue all day long whether the pitcher or the hitter has the advantage here, because as the hitter, you know what a guy likes to throw, but the pitcher may know that, and he knows what you like. The first pitch is going to be taken to deep center field, and that will drive Rudick all the way back, but it'll make the catch near where the warning track would be for out number 1.
Well, on that swing, I think Mike Ludwig might know a little bit about William Fleming's tendencies, as he did not waste any time swinging at that first pitch, and he drove it out to the deepest part of the ballpark, but luckily it is a pretty deep center field, around 400 feet to dead center, so Ludwig, he was able to pull that ball a little more, might have had the third home run of the game for the Mariners, but instead it's just a long out number 1.
This pitch is going to be fouled away, back out of play here by Chris Lanzilli, who comes in, and Lanzilli had a single of his own and then came around to third on an error. Didn't quite come home, though, as he was stranded, as was Pat Winkle. So here comes the 0-1 pitch to him, and he'll swing and foul this one away, same spot. Fouling it back behind the concession stand for the Wareham Gatemen, and this will be the last time that we'll make a road trip any further than, actually I believe this is the last road trip of the year to the West, with the exception of the makeup game against Katuitt, as this pitch will miss high to Lanzilli.
It's one of the few ballparks, too, that I don't think my car is going to be in danger of getting hit by a foul ball unless Frank Thomas decides to make his return to the Cape League anytime soon.
Here comes the 1-2 pitch, check swing, and that one is going to be called strike 3 here. That'll send Lanzilli back to the dugout, and Pat Winkle comes up. Yeah, I mean, somebody could really get a hold of one, but they would have to take it over the fence and then over the bleachers, the football bleachers out there in left field, and then onto the parking lot. You got another 20 yards left to go. So it would take a monster shot as Pat Winkle comes up here. Winkle had the single that drove a run back in the 4th.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if even 1998 Mark McGuire can get a ball out over those bleachers. I mean, it is a long way out into left field.
Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That's going to miss low, and you get the feeling somebody may just prove you wrong for the heck of it. And
the way
take
things
one
have
through your
gone this
windshield.
year with the announcers jinx, I mean, I'm sure I'm sure there's going to be one that's going to go right through the middle of it.
Fortunately for me, Alex drove today. The 2-0 pitch is going to be golfed at and missed by Winkle. He kind of shakes his head a little bit, and he'll stand back in here with a 2-1 count.
Yeah, so far, Fleming not wasting any time going after these Mariners hitters. He's kind of known what pitches to throw and where to keep the ball against a dangerous lineup as of late. As here he's struggling a little bit. 3-1 now, the count to Winkle.
Yep, Winkle's found himself here in a favorable count, as you mentioned, and see how much he can take advantage of that. A walk would be just as helpful here with Corey Acton standing on deck, and he's going to hit this one to the right side. It'll take an awkward hop off the infield lip, but it's going to be picked up by Baker, who throws to Teeter in time for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down for the Mariners in their half of the 6th. Wareham coming up trying to salvage this game. When we come back here in the home half of the 6th, it's a 5-1 lead for the Mariners here on the Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back to Spillane Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey as Harwich will have a pitching change of their own to make. It'll be long reliever Will Heflin, and they will go from one Cape League All-Star to another here as the Tennessee product comes in. It's been a pretty good season for him, and Colin, the way he's pitched this year and the length that he's pitched this year out of the bullpen, you get the feeling the rest of the game may very well be his.
Yeah, and with a 4-run lead, there's not really a whole lot of pressure on Heflin, especially the offense that they've gotten solely out of Nico Cavadas, who's provided 4 RBIs for the Harwich Mariners offense. But yeah, Heflin, it seems like any position that they've brought him in, even with the high leverage bases loaded situations, he's been able to come up big for the Mariners, and I don't see why tonight would be anything different for the Tennessee left-hander.
Will Heflin has come into 5 different games. He's pitched 15 1/3 innings, and he has given up just 8 hits, 1 run. It was earned, and he has walked 4 and struck out 18. So he leads the team in innings pitched via relievers, and he will have an opportunity to come in here and showcase his stuff once more against a Wareham squad that continues kind of shaking their head at just what Harwich has done to them this year, Colin.
Yeah, it's just been one of those years where this team has just been so tough to figure out, but huge credit to the Mariners pitching staff, to pitching coach Jeff Neiman. They know how to approach these hitters, and they have come prepared night in and night out to see if Heflin and the bullpen can lead them to their 4th victory in as many games against the Gatemen this year.
So Heflin will work out of the windup here to start the game. The lefty out of Tennessee delivers the first pitch, and that's going to be fouled away. So he starts off Jacob Teeter with a strike. Teeter coming into this. Actually, that's Dallas Beaver. Teeter made the last out of the 5th inning, lining out to short. And this one's going to be smacked into deep left center field. That'll get down to the gap and roll all the way to the fence. Picking it up in left is Daniel Cabrera, and it'll be a stand-up double here for Dallas Beaver to start off the outing.
Yeah, good swing taking it the other way into left center field by Beaver. He's a big-time pull hitter, but kind of surprising the Mariners' defense on that one, going the other way. And so Beaver picks up his 6th double of the season, and that is now a team lead for the Gatemen.
So here comes Matt McLean. Harwich leading at 5-1 here over the Wareham Gatemen on the road. McLean today reached on a single, came around to score due to a throwing error over to first, and then came across on an RBI hit from Benjamin Sems. Here comes the first pitch, and that one will miss low and inside. Taking a big step is Dallas Beaver, but he'll hold up right where he's at. So Harwich striking for 3 runs in the 4th, 2 runs in the 5th. The lone run for Wareham coming in their half of the 2nd inning. Heflin's next pitch, that one's going to just miss low, and the count is going to be 2-0 here on Matt McLean.
It's actually the first extra base hit allowed this season by Will Heflin, so he's done a great job of not letting any of those balls find the gap or clear the fence, but unique situation for him. Let's see how he adapts.
Heflin comes to the belt, checks the runner, and brings the pitch home. That's going to miss low, and he's fallen behind Matt McLean here 3-0, and that's another thing we don't see him do a whole lot of typically, and that's walk guys, as I mentioned. Just 4 walks this year for Will Heflin, compared to an impressive 18 strikeouts. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. That one's going to be in there for a strike. Delivering a fastball, and that'll give us a chance to remind you what Will Heflin's working with. Fastball, curveball, changeup. Pretty typical 3-pitch guy, and one who's much more comfortable coming out of the bullpen than starting, at least here at the collegiate level. He went 10-1 as a starter his senior year and hit .439 back in high school, the .43 ERA. The next pitch is going to be in there for strike 2. Jogging his way down to first was Matt McLean, but he'll have to come back, and the count has been forked full here.
Yeah, this might have been the planned approach by Heflin. See if you could get McLean to swing at anything out of the zone. He's been really patient, and now back-to-back strikes, so he's looking to try to battle back and pick up a huge strikeout with runner on second.
So here comes the payoff pitch from Heflin. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Matt McLean is down on strikes here, the first out of the inning.
And boy, that's a big out with a runner on second. So as Heflin makes his way towards probably the best part of the lineup after Mike Antico, who's batting, the 7, 8, 9 hitters have reached base 4 times in 6 plate appearances. So they're kind of the guys who have been getting the job done. The lone RBI with the guy standing in the on-deck circle now, Benjamin Sims.
So a big-time opportunity coming up here for Benjamin Sims, but first it'll be Mike Antico, who's 0 for 2 today. He is flied out and grounded out. The first pitch he sees is a high fastball that'll miss for ball 1.
Antico out of St. John's hitting .263 on the season. 5 runs batted in, looking to add another with a base hit potentially.
Heflin comes to the belt, still a 1-0 count here on Mike Antico. He'll check the runner back to second and deliver the pitch. That one's going to be in there for a strike. Brought the curveball that time, and he's even the count here up at 1-1. Heflin still trying to improve upon an already impressive 2019 campaign, one that's already netted him an All-Star appearance. Keep in mind that All-Star game and Home Run Derby will be played at Eldridge Park in Orleans just a week from tomorrow as the 1-1 pitch is on its way home. Swing and a miss there by Mike Antico. He's over the top of it, and once again Heflin just continues dealing. And these are the kinds of guys, Colin, that can come in on a temp contract like what Will Heflin did, get a full-time gig, and in addition to that, put together a really impressive season in front of the scouts, and all of a sudden the entire career path for you has changed.
Certainly has, and this has just been one impressive season for a kid out of Tennessee.
Here comes the 1-2. That one's going to be chopped to second. Fedko charging in. He'll make the play, and that is going to be out number 2. But moving up to third is Dallas Beaver here with 2 away for Benjamin Sims, who's already got 1 RBI on the day. He'll look for another one here in the home half of the 6th.
And yeah, it's a productive out for the gateman, moving the runner up to third on the ground ball to the right side of the infield. But at this point, when you're trailing by 4 runs, you can't really afford too many productive outs. You need to find gaps and get some base hits, which is easier said than done against this Mariners pitching staff, but see if Benjamin Sims can come up big for the second time today.
So here is Sims, his 3rd at bat of the day. So far, Benjamin Sims has reached base in both of his at-bats. First pitch from Heflin will miss just low. He reached on a single, the RBI back in the 2nd inning, and then was hit by a pitch in the 4th. Heflin once again comes set, still working out of the stretch. The lefty kicks and fires. That one's going to be hit high in the air, and that'll be well out of play as this one comes back onto the roof of the school behind us, and he's got no 2 count here on Benjamin Sems.
Yep, with the count at 0-2, he's able to start him out with a strike, and we've seen a lot of 1-0, 2-0 counts for Heflin, and not really surprised considering his first pitch strike percentage this year at 57%, so not a guy who really attacks hitters, at least to start the at-bat.
This one's going to be taken well into center field, chasing it back all the way back to the fence and making the catch is Noisy in center, and that will end the inning. Heflin gets out of trouble, and we'll go on to the 7th here. The final third of the game, Harwich with a 5-1 lead when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back to Spillane Park. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey would like to remind you that today's game is brought to you by Curry College. You can learn about Curry College and all the Curry Colonels championship teams, including teams that play sports like volleyball, men's and women's basketball, lacrosse, hockey, and many more at currycollege.edu.
So after 6 full innings, the Mariners with a 5-1 lead over the Wareham Gatemen. And it'll be the 8-9-1 hitters due up for the Mariners. Corey Acton, Hal Hughes, Dylan Noisy, all set to bat, as they were actually a combined 0 for 7 today, so they're looking to try to get some offense going against William Fleming, who's out for his 2nd inning of work out of the pen, relieving Cole Stetzer in the 6th. So here's Acton, a couple of strikeouts to his name. And from the windup, Fleming's first pitch is fouled straight back. Acton out of Florida. Joined the team in late June. He was actually battling a wrist injury. And that pitch will miss low to make it 1-1. Seen Acton also play a little bit of shortstop as well. So a guy that is comfortable playing the left side of the infield. He swings at the 1-1 and fouls it straight back.
And it wasn't so much a wrist injury as it was just kind of overuse. You got to think that whenever anything gets tweaked even a little bit, you know, it can be so tough to bounce back from that in a sustained season. So he took a little bit of extra time before coming here to Harwich and now trying to kind of find his own rhythm.
1-2, a check swing, ball gets away, and we got an appeal, and he did go. So Acton strikes out, and that is the 2nd strikeout for William Fleming in his outing in the bullpen, and that's a hat trick for Acton. 3 strikeouts for him in this one, 1 away to begin the 7th.
And with how far that ball rolled, if he had just taken off, he may have had a chance to beat the throw down to first, but he didn't think he would. He kind of waited there, and the appeal says otherwise, so that'll be the first out of the inning here for Hal Hughes.
Hughes 0 for 2, and the first pitch will miss low. Strikeout. He also popped out to short in his last at-bat. Hughes in the last game that counted was 0 for 2. And there's a swing and a miss to make it 1-1. But as we mentioned earlier, he had a reached base a couple of times yesterday, including an RBI, scored twice before that game was discontinued. 1-1 is an inside-out swing down the right side, foul, so Fleming continues to attack these Mariners hitters. He's retired the first 4 batters that he has faced. Here's the 1-2. And he was able to fight it off. fouls it straight back.
Yeah, so both bullpens have been getting it done so far here for their respective teams, but the starter, Cole Stetzer, having just a really rough outing today, and Harwich bats finally starting to show up. And boy, I'll tell you what, if Harwich can play this way with the offense the way they've been the last 3-4 days or so on top of the pitching, this is going to be one of the scarier teams in the league.
Pitch misses to make it 2-2. Is talk about how Hughes has been picking it up at the plate, but boy, he's been phenomenal in the field. Perfect fielding percentage so far with 18 putouts and 31 assists. In 15 games, this being his 16th, as that one's in the dirt, so it's a full count now to the shortstop out of LSU. Fleming looking to make it 6 straight retired for him and 7 straight from Wareham pitching. The payoff pitch is hit up the middle. Playing it on a hop is Darren Baker. The throw on to Teeter is in time, so it's 2 up, 2 down to begin the 7th for William Fleming.
Yep, another quick out, and we'll see whether or not Dylan Noisy can find his way on for the first time today. He's flying out in all 3 of his at-bats. So looking for a bounce-back AB is the part of the order that's kind of gotten all the damage done is coming up after him. Daniel Cabrera and then Nico Cavadas.
So here's Noisy, a couple of flyouts to right, and he popped out to short. Fleming's first pitch is a big cut and a miss by Noisy.
Yeah, Noisy taking an awfully big slice at a lot of these balls. It seems like he's been trying to get his first home run of the year, but Harwich just needing him to kind of straighten it out and find a way to get on base.
There's a swing and a miss for strike 2. The Mariners looking for their 10th victory against Western teams this year, but they're actually on a 2-game losing streak against the West. They were hoping to end that yesterday, but of course the game being abandoned. We'll have to try their hand to it again at a later date. And the 0-2 is in for a called strike 3, so Dylan Noisy goes down looking, and it's a flawless 7th inning for William Fleming and the Wareham Gatemen, and they'll look to try to chip away at this deficit as we head to the stretch. Mariners lead it 5-1. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners YouTube network. Following the 7th inning stretch into the bottom of the 7th, Wareham Gatemen looking to chip away at this 5-1 deficit. Damage being done so far in this game mostly by Nico Cavadas with 2 home runs, 4 runs batted in. He has certainly been the difference maker as Will Heflin out for his 2nd inning of work. First pitch he throws misses low to Drew Sims.
Yeah, Heflin's been, arguably one of the most important pieces on this Harwich Mariners team, and I say that because the bullpen has been so thinly stretched this year that to have a guy like Heflin that can come in and not only eat up innings but also be really good doing it has been such an essential part of Harwich's season as this pitch misses just inside.
And that you can really say the same thing about a lot of temp players, including Joey Weimer, Daniel Cabrera, guys who have just provided so much for this Mariners team, despite not having that comfy, permanent contract, but they have earned it pretty much as the 2-0 will catch the strike zone to make it 2-1.
Well, and all those guys have been signed to full-time contracts now, so that is certainly an assurance as that one's being done about, I believe, like a week and a half ago. So
Showing bunting, getting it down is Sims, but it's going to be foul. And I think making the All-Star game might be an easy way to make sure that you keep your roster spot for the rest of the season, which all three of those guys that I just named have done.
A couple of open spots here, and a new signing for the Harwich Mariners, as I believe they added a guy from YD just a few days ago. He's been activated, and we'll see whether or not he makes his debut tomorrow.
2-2 is fouled straight back. Yeah, it's going to be Riley Tarota. Batted ninth against the Mariners a few days back. Was their designated hitter. See what kind of role he plays once he is fully arrived here in Harwich.
At the end of 9 innings, the Brewster Whitecaps are still tied up 2-2 with the Falmouth Commodores.
Could be a difference maker for the Mariners if they're able to hold on here, as the 2-2 is chopped foul. Acton will make a play, but third base umpire signaling that is a foul ball, so the count will stay put at 2-2. Sims out of Utah Valley. As I mentioned earlier, they hasn't had a ton of at-bats this year, including the sample size from today. He's had 7 so far, but he's been able to reach base in 3 of them. And the 2-2 misses just outside, so Sims able to work the count full on Heflin.
Yep, and we've seen this situation once before. The time he did get it, he got a strikeout. That one was against Matt McLean, so we'll see whether he battles back and gets another one here.
Here's the payoff. It's a hard ground ball towards the left side. Hal Hughes backhands it. Long throw is in plenty of time, and there it is again. Hal Hughes with some sparkling defense over that shortstop position, and that is out number 1 to begin the home half of the 7th.
It's a tough play, but boy, he looks so comfortable doing it. He comes all the way to the right side, has to make the backhand grab, and then just effortlessly fires all the way across the diamond, and that's a long throw. I mean, to catch a guy with a lot of speed, but he's able to get him, and that'll bring up Tora Atsuka here for a 3rd time today.
San Diego native digs in. First pitch to Heflin is in for a strike. Otsuka 1 for 2. Had a single back in the 2nd that would put it at 2 on and 2 away, but the guy on deck, Matthew Rudick, unable to bring home what was an insurance run at the time. And that is the only run that has been scored on that RBI single by Benjamin Sims back in the 2nd. And Otsuka hits this ball well up the middle, and it will get through for his 2nd hit of the game. And bottom of the order continues to produce for the Gatemen, but so far, not too many results.
Well, and it's not like they haven't had guys on base. So far in this game, there have only been 2 guys that haven't reached, and both of them hitting near the top of the order. It's been Darren Baker and also Mike Antico, the only 2 guys that haven't found their way on today. So those 2 will look to bounce back, and for the time being, it will be back to the top of the order we go, as Matthew Rudick, who's already 1 for 3 today, steps in for a 4th AB.
Rudick came in hitting .246 on the season. And the first pitch to him is on the outside corner for a strike.
Extra innings happening right now out in Falmouth as the Brewster Whitecaps are on the road. Talked about that just a moment ago, but another update for you. It's still 2-2, and the Brewster Whitecaps have a leadoff walk to start that game, or start that inning.
Pickoff throw by Heflin, as the one run was an unearned run for the Gatemen, and it was unearned because of a failed pickoff move, as Jacob Polish threw one to Nico Cavadas. He couldn't really see it from the sun, but with the lights on, the sun down, a much easier play to make for Nico. And I think he's more than made up for that error with the 2 home runs and 4 RBIs he's driven in, as Heflin checks the runner once more.
You could say that.
It's been the staple of this Mariners offense all season long. Heflin comes set, the 0-1. And that one will miss up and away.
Well, and we had a chance to talk to one of the guys that actually covered, I believe it was the Kalamazoo Growlers up in the Northwoods League. He followed Nico Cavadas and Joe Boyle around, and man, he said there was an entire stretch of that season that lasted probably 12 to 14 games where they just put Cavadas in the forehill, and he kind of carried the team, and that's about what we've seen here. As there have been several games where more than half of Harwich's runs have come via Nico Cavadas home runs.
It seems like the Kalamazoo Growlers are pretty well represented in the Cape League this season. I think there's been at least 2 or 3 other guys on other rosters that we've seen so far. And there's a swing and a high drive out towards fairly deep right center field. Over to make the catch is Dylan Noisy for out number 2, and Otsuka will retreat to first.
So here comes one of the only guys who has not reached base yet today. It's Darren Baker, who is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a ground out. And he'll try to find his way on, and with 2 outs, maybe move the runner around, put somebody in scoring position here for a Wareham Gateman squad that has not scored since the 2nd inning.
Yeah, it's been Baker and Mike Antico, the only 2 guys to not reach base for Wareham. So with the lefty-lefty matchup, Heflin will try to get out of this inning and make it 2 scoreless. First pitch from Will is fouled off to the left out of play. Baker has struck out twice and grounded out to first in between. Decent lead at first from Otsuka. And that pitch will miss to even things up 1-1.
Yep, Heflin looking for another scoreless frame here. Again, he's only given up the 1 run. I believe it was in his last outing when he gave that up. But aside from that, a completely clean slate for him this season. Guys have really struggled not only getting on him, but finding their way around to score when they have.
Long look at first, now the 1-1. There's an inside-out swing, a diving effort over at short by Hal Hughes, but the ball gets right past him. So Darren Baker able to break an 0 for 3 slide, and he's now 1 for 4 with 2 on and 2 away for the Gateman.
Tell you what, Hal Hughes just about made the play of the season by about an inch, but that one just narrowly gets past his outstretched glove, and that'll bring up Jacob Teeter, who had a really hard hit ball. He lined one straight at Hal Hughes back in the 5th inning. But other than that, he's 0 for 2, and he'll look to maybe bring a run across here as the Wareham Gateman to put a runner in scoring position. Tying run is standing on deck here in the 7th.
It would be big to get Dallas Beaver up, who had doubled off of Will Heflin in his last plate appearance, and Teeter fouls first pitch he sees off.
Yep, Heflin's going to be going a second time through the order for him today here, as Beaver was the leadoff man against him back in that 6th inning.
None too surprised that we're seeing Will Heflin go multiple innings, as he has in each of his appearances so far this year. In fact, the shortest appearance he's had was his first one, just going 2 innings in a win against Falmouth back on June 16th.
Taking a lot of time to think about this next pitch, and that's going to prompt timeout to be called by Rick Emerson as he'll step off the bump. And he peers back in, runners on first and second, and facing off against Jacob Teeter for a first time.
0-1 to Teeter is fouled off, and Teeter loses control of his bat as it goes tumbling just to the right of the first base coaching box.
Yeah, fortunately nobody even in the immediate area, but just completely lost his grip there. The ball went one way, the bat went the other. And coming out to have a brief word with Will Heflin right now is Pat Winkle.
Heflin now 1 strike away from getting out of the inning and making it back-to-back scoreless innings to start his outing. Came in to relieve Jacob Polish, who, if you're just joining us, went a strong 5 innings, giving up 1 unearned run on 5 hits. Only 1 walk surrendered, and he struck out 3 batters along the way. Looking to make it 3-0 on the year against the Wareham Gatemen. The 0-2. That'll miss low.
Right now, Falmouth is playing with some fire. They've walked back-to-back hitters here to start the top of the 10th inning. Brewster is currently sending Brett Auerbach, one of the All-Stars, up to the plate with 2 on and nobody out in the top of the 10th.
Falmouth sitting comfortably at 3rd in the West right now, and there's a pitch that just misses, and Heflin thought he had strike 3.
Boy, that was a really good pitch by Will Heflin. I'm not sure where that one missed, but it inevitably did, and Jacob Teeter's going to get another one here with a 2-2 count.
Otsuka on second, Baker on first. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs at the bottom of the 7th. 5-1 lead for the Harwich Mariners. Heflin's 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He had him way out in front, and Jacob Teeter strikes out to close out the 7th inning. So despite a couple of hits from the Gatemen, still no runs. They've been held scoreless over the last 5 innings. We head to the 8th. The Harwich Mariners enjoying a 5-1 lead here at Spillane Field. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back to Spillane Field as we head to the top of the 8th. The Mariners still out in front by a score of 5-1. In large part due to the 3-run 4th inning and then a couple more runs in the 5th to add for insurance. And the first pitch of the top of the 8th is a strike to Daniel Cabrera.
Yep, Cabrera has reached all 3 times. Once he goes out via a double play. The other 2 times he came in on Nico Cavadas home runs.
He will foul off the next pitch he sees to fall behind 0-2. He also mixed in a stolen base just before Nico Cavadas hit his second home run of the game. The 0-2 fouled straight back off the umpire's chest.
He didn't even flinch. How about that? Mark Delaney showing off the muscle back there. Really quickly, a sac bunt moved runners into second and third for the Brewster Whitecaps, but a ground out brought the second out of the inning. So inching ever closer here are the Falmouth Commodores to helping out the Harwich cause as this pitch will miss high and inside.
Down in Hyannis, it is a 6-3 lead now for the Anglers. They're trying to wrap things up, but runners at the corners and the tying run at the plate for the Harbor Hawks. So,
and a 10-1 lead for the Orleans Firebirds over YD.
Cabrera hits one well out towards left field. Going back and running it down is Antico for a stellar play to begin the top of the 8th.
Yeah, he was just completely on his horse, running out to left center field, and somehow was able to come up with that ball. So here comes Nico Cavadas. He's already 2 for 2 today, grounded into a double play, and then the 2 2-run home runs. And Colin, maybe the most impressive thing about these home runs that he's been hitting lately, keep in mind, he's tied for first for the league with 6 home runs. 5 of those have come over the last 8 games.
First pitch misses low and outside. Yeah, he's done a great job over the last 8 games, really finding that power. It seems like the contact's been there all season, but all of a sudden he's really been driving the ball over the fence. And he swings at a William Fleming fastball to even the count 1-1.
Yeah, his home runs came in game 10 of the season, and then he didn't have another one until game 21. So also, he wasn't doing any of that off of kind of the temp pitching of guys that weren't going to make any of these rosters. He's been doing it against the cream of the crop, guys like Cole Stetzer.
There's a swing and a miss, and it's now 1-2. I believe also 4 of those home runs coming away from White House Field. So he's really seen the ball pretty well on the road against teams. Had 1 in Hyannis. And of course 2 here tonight in Wareham. And there's a high drive to right field and deep. Going back at the wall, it's gone. The 3rd home run of the game for Nico Cavadas, his 5th RBI, and he now stands alone atop of the home run list in the Cape Cod Baseball League. 6-1 Harwich leads over the Gatemen.
How about that? Coming into the game, down 1 in the league lead, and he's going to leave the game up 1 in the league lead. 3 home runs in 5 innings for Nico Cavadas, and that is number 7 of the year. The Mariners lead it 6-1. What a day he's had.
And that ball was absolutely tattooed. I don't even think that one stood a chance of staying in the park. It cleared the fence by a good 30 feet at least. So Fleming, who looked really strong, retiring the first 7 batters he faced, gives up the 3rd home run of the game for Nico Cavadas. And a ground ball to short is mishandled. And so Christian Fedko will reach base via an error, and that will be charged to Matt McLean.
So an error here, and things continue to kind of spiral out of control for the Wareham Gatemen. And boy, you talk about teams that just kind of have another one's number. How about this? The Harwich Mariners trying to get a complete season sweep of this team. And boy, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this is the top team in the West. This is the defending champions, although they have a new roster this year, but they've looked phenomenal. This is a team that hits 300 against opponents, as this is going to be fouled away by Mike Ludwig. But against the Harwich Mariners, they just can't seem to figure it out.
We talked about how Nico Cavadas has continued to be so strong at the plate, and I believe that is now 6 home runs in just under 9 games played, as there's a fastball in the dirt to Mike Ludwig to even the count 1-1.
Really quickly, Mason Dodd has walked, so the bases are loaded in Brewster. With 2 away in the top of the 10th, the Whitecaps tied up with the Falmouth Commodores 2-2. We'll have an update on that as soon as we have it, as a quick pickoff move over to first is not in time. Trying to check Christian Fedko back to first base.
Of course, the last game that went to extras for the Falmouth Commodores ended in a walk-off home run. That one coming against the Harwich Mariners, and Brewster has just taken the lead as there's a swing and a miss for a strike 2, a 2-run single it looks like. So Brewster Whitecaps coming up big in the 10th inning. And the 1-2 is fouled straight back past us.
Yeah, I got the video right in front of me right now. The pitcher hangs a fastball, and, well, that's not going to help the case out for the Harwich Mariners. It could have been a day where they could have jumped back into the playoff picture, but it looks like Brewster's going to come away with a victory in that one, pending another walk-off win for the Falmouth Commodores.
1-2 to Ludwig is just below the knees, and that Chatham game has gone final. They win it 6-3 over the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, who continue to just have a miserable season down in Hyannis.
Yeah, that's going to be their 20th loss of the season, so they are 6-20-1.
2-2 to Ludwig, and he's able to spoil another pitch foul.
Nico Cavadas now has more home runs on the season than Hyannis has wins.
One of those troubling stats for those cheering for the Harbor Hawks. But again, sometimes these years happens, and it's just a clean roster the next summer, so for all we know, they could be one of the top teams in next year's season. And we got a pickoff move, and Fedko's in trouble. The throw down to second. Fedko retreating back to first, in between, and he is tagged out by the first baseman. That is Teeter. So Christian Fedko is picked off route number 2 in the 8th.
Yeah, it just kind of got caught a little bit too far off the bag, and there wasn't a lot he could do. If he retreated, he would have been tagged out, so he tried to make something happen over there at second, and he's going to be tagged for the second out of the inning.
So now nobody on for Ludwig, who is 1 for 3 with a run scored. Singleton scored back in the 4th. And the 2-2 is hit well up the middle. That's a base hit for Mike Ludwig, so he's now 2 for 4. It's been a fly out to center, single, fly out to center, single for the Wake Forest right fielder. Really
quickly, Austin Maisel leads things off for the Falmouth Commodores in the home half of the 10th inning, and they get a double to start things off for Falmouth. So they'll bring the tying run up to the plate here with nobody out. I know we're giving a lot of updates on this game, but boy, very quietly here, Colin, the season has kind of ticked away as Chris Lanzilli comes up here for the Harwich Mariners, and actually going to have a pinch runner, it looks like. I believe that's Max Marshak, who's going to come in and run here for Mike Ludwig.
Yep, Marshak, arguably the fastest guy on the team, will get an opportunity to run out of Texas Tech, and that's going to be it for Ludwig, who's had quite the night himself. Pair of hits for him. So now a little bit of speed added to that outfield for the Mariners. Decent lead for Marshak, and immediately throwing over. And a very close play, in fact, in Jacob Teeter not happy as he thought he had him, but according to the first base umpire, Marshak barely able to get that foot in.
And you get the feeling we're going to see Marshak take off here at some point or another. He is probably the fastest guy on a very fast Harwich team. He's gotten a pretty good lead over there at first. He puts his left hand behind his back. The right one kind of like dangling down limp in front of him as another close play is also not going to be in time. So clearly aware of the speed that he has over there at first base is William Fleming.
Marshak takes his lead once again. Chris Lanzilli still awaiting the first pitch. Here it is, and he hits this ball well out towards straightaway center field, but coming in to make the catch is Matthew Rudick, and that ends the inning. But not before Nico Cavadas slugs his third home run of the ball game. He gives his team now a 6-1 lead as we head to the bottom of the eighth. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. Head to the bottom of the eighth, excuse me. Harwich Mariners enjoying a 6-1 lead. And the guys having a little bit of fun in the dugout. Chris Lanzilli leading the way with a bit of an interesting dance, to say the least, as new pitcher set to go for the Harwich Mariners. It's going to be the left-hander Blake Espinal. As Will Heflin's day is done, he goes 2 innings, allowing just 3 hits while striking out 2, and no runs given up. So Will Heflin continues his stellar campaign, and I'm sure that ERA is going to dip now below .5, so Will Heflin continues to be arguably the best relief pitcher, the most effective one in the entire CCPL.
Well, an uncharacteristically short outing here out of Will Heflin, who is going an average of 5 innings, but we've seen him go as many as 6 at a time. So he comes out of this game, and it'll be up to Blake Espinal to try to keep things going here for the Harwich Mariners.
So leading things off is going to be the DH Dallas Beaver. Beaver so far 1 for 3 with the 1 double off of Heflin. The only extra base hit given up by the Tennessee lefty this year, so let's see if Espinal can fare better against him. First pitch from Espinal. Misses low and outside.
Yeah, and squaring a bunt around there was Dallas Beaver. Interesting move out of him as this team kind of needs more sustained hits, but they'll take base runners any way they can get them down by 5 here.
Espinal, the Seton Hall product. No wins or losses, 6.23 ERA on the season. The fastball will just miss inside to make it 2-0.
And boy, Colin, imagine if yesterday's game had counted. If they had gotten even just the 8 runs, they could have been having back-to-back offensive explosions here. And the one good thing is that the bats didn't slow down after yesterday, at least not for Nico Cavadas.
There's a fastball in the outside corner, so Espinal able to find the plate. Blake Espinal in his last appearance let an inherited runner score, but outside of that, he did not give up any earned runs in the 1 inning pitched against Katuitt on July 11th. There's a line drive into left field for a leadoff single, so Dallas Beaver looking to spark a late inning rally for the Gatemen.
Well, that's one of the downsides to only throwing fastballs. You do get a little bit predictable, and it's just about making sure your location comes through. He may have missed a spot there, and that'll bring up Matt McLean, who is 1 for 3 today, as he will try to bring a few runs across here for a squad that continuing to struggle here against Harwich. Really quickly, the game has gone final. Able to get 1 run back were the Falmouth Commodores, but they come up just 1 short. The Brewster Whitecaps get the win 4-3.
Sean Fisher going to get the win in that one, going 3 innings in relief to close the door for the Whitecaps. First pitch misses outside to Matt McLean. So Brewster able to keep ahead of the Mariners for the time being by at least a point should the Mariners hold on. 1-0 from Espinal just misses, and I mean just misses. It looked like that ball might have been right on the outside corner, but to no avail as it is 2-0 now. Espinal in his fifth game this season. He's pitched 8 2/3 total as that fastball's over for a strike. Sounds like someone else might be throwing in the Mariners bullpen, so it might not be the last time that Coach Englert makes a move in this game. I'm sure Joe Boyle might be available should things get a little bit interesting. 2-1 is a hard grounder to third. Knocked down by Acton. The ball gets away from him, and everyone's going to be safe. Ball was hit pretty hard by Matt McLean, and Acton couldn't field it cleanly, and they're going to give him an error for that. The scoreboard reads E6, but the play was made by the third baseman, so give that error to Corey Acton.
Yeah, and he did everything he could there. I mean, that's a really tough play to make. He's got to come to his left and field a ball that was absolutely smoked his way, but it'll put runners at first and second here for Mike Antico, who was 0 for 4 today, and see whether or not the Wareham Gatemen can capitalize on this.
So a rare multi-error game for the Mariners. Second error of the game as they came in with a .978 fielding percentage, good enough for best in the CCBL with only 20 errors committed in 27 games played as Espinal will step off. So now Espinal doesn't have to worry about those runners being earned, but I'm sure he'd love a double play ball with Mike Antico at the plate, who's 0 for 3. First pitch misses high. Antico, St. John's product. 13 runs scored this season to go along with a 20 for 76, now 20 of 79, so that will be a ground ball of first, and Nico Cavadas will just step on it. Both runners advance, but Antico is retired for out number 1 in the 8th.
I could be wrong, but it looked like that ball bounced off of the first base bag, so a good job by Cavadas to just kind of stay tight and grab that and step on first for the out. So 2 runners in scoring position here. Still a 5-run lead for the Harwich Mariners as Benjamin Sems will take his 4th at bat of the day.
Sems 1 for 3, or 1 for 2 actually, with a single that drove in a run back in the second. He also reached via a hit by pitch and flew out to center. So the second and third, he's looking to add to that RBI total, and the first pitch misses outside for ball 1.
And if Harwich can hold on to a victory here, this will be another day where 4 of the 5 teams in the East, and the only reason it wasn't 5 is because the 5th was playing one of the other 4, could come away with a victory here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Bourne currently trailing Katuitt 5-0, so one of those 2 teams has to get a win today.
1-0 misses low for ball 2. I'm sure the Gatemen are hoping that Bourne can mount a 9th inning comeback, as Katuitt really surging and getting a little bit lucky that they didn't have an extra loss to their name after falling behind 12-0 yesterday before the cancellation of the remainder of the contest, as ball will be fouled off by Sems down the first baseline.
Yeah, and Harwich is in the opposite position that they're in today if they can hang on to a victory yesterday, as they would be a point ahead of the Brewster Whitecaps, and even a Brewster victory today would keep Harwich in place. And what's going to get really interesting is when the East-West matchups end, and that's coming up here in about 4 days, and it's going to be just a brutal slog of Eastern Division opponents as these teams will beat the heck out of each other for the last 2-3 weeks of the season.
2-1 is fouled off to the left, and one thing our producer Matt Lucy had pointed out to me last night is that it's a home and home to end the season between Brewster and the Harwich Mariners. That could be 2 of the biggest games all season long, depending on where those 2 teams end up in the standings, coming up on games 43 and 44.
Well, and that could be, ultimately a fight for a playoff spot. You could also mix Orleans in there as well, depending on what they do, but they got a victory today, and, they're only a few more points ahead.
It's a high fly ball out towards center field. Noisy comes in to charge. He makes the catch. Tagging from third is Beaver. He's going to hold up, and boy, what a throw it was from Dylan Noisy to keep the runner at third, as there are now 2 away in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, I think that was more of a bluff for Beaver, but had he taken off, boy, he might have gotten smoked. That was a strike from Dylan Noisy, delivered straight to home plate where Pat Winkle would have been waiting. But it's 2 away here, and Drew Sims will come up. He's already got a base hit today, and he will try to add a few more runs here and cut into the Harwich deficit a little bit.
Infield playing back with a 5-run deficit and 2 away despite runners on second and third, and Espinal looking to work out of the jam. His first pitch to Sims is a high pop-up over towards Cavadas. He'll backpedal a little bit, stumbles a little bit, but he's able to make the catch for out number 3. We're through 8 from Spillane Field in Wareham, and the Mariners own a 6-1 lead over the Gatemen. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners YouTube network. Top of the ninth from Spillane Field. The Mariners with a 6-1 lead, looking to make it 4-0 on the season against the Wareham Gatemen. And so William Fleming is out for his 4th inning of work. Fleming so far giving up just the 1 earned run on Nico Cavadas' 3rd home run of the game. And if the Mariners have a big inning, he could get an opportunity at 4. He's due up 6 this inning, but for now it's the 7, 8, and 9 hitters who are a combined 1 for 9 so far. The only man with a hit is the guy batting at the plate now, Pat Winkle. He fouls off the first pitch.
And for Harwich, I mean, the one thing that's going to be consistent all season long is the pitching, as they've given up fewer than 3 runs a game all season long. But the hitting has really started to turn a corner, and again, that could turn them into one of the scarier teams in the league.
Winkle flares this ball down the left field line. It'll get out of play. Pat Winkle out of UConn. Couple of groundouts, but he did have an RBI single back in the 4th, and that is the only RBI that does not belong to Nico Cavadas for the Harwich Mariners.
YD continues to lay it on thick, or sorry, Orleans continues to lay it on thick on YD as they've jumped out to a 12-1 lead.
And there's a swing and a miss for strike 3, so Pat Winkle strikes out swinging for out number 1 in the 9th, and big game for Zach Britton.
Game is in the 5th inning. So
wow.
Still 4 to play out there at Orleans. Boy, they just continue to lay on the runs. And that's the other thing. Harwich has not been on the receiving end of any of the beatings this year. Their worst loss, I think, came in the doubleheader against Hyannis as they lost 7-5, or 7-2.
Corey Acton swings the first pitch he sees and fouls it off. He's had a pretty rough day at the plate, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, and he also had that fielding error in the field, so just one of those days for Acton, but I'm sure the fact that his team has a 5-run advantage makes him feel a little bit better. And he swings and a miss to fall behind 0-2.
Colin, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Harwich has given up more than 10 or more than 9 runs in any games this year. I don't remember allowing double digits to a single team throughout the entire first 28 games of the season.
I don't even remember giving up as many as 9. I thought 7 was the most we've given up. As there's a swing and a miss for strike 3, so Acton goes down swinging for the 4th time in this one, and that is now back-to-back strikeouts for William Fleming to begin the 9th, and his 5th in 4 2/3 innings, 2 down.
Yep, and that'll take us to the 9 hole as Hal Hughes comes up for a 4th at-bat today as I frantically flip through my scoreboard looking for a number on that.
There's a line drive out towards right center field for a base hit, so Hal Hughes refusing to go hitless as that 2-out single will bring up the top of the order, and Dylan Noisy will look to provide some offense in this game. He's 0 for 4.
Really quickly, the Harwich Mariners have allowed 7 runs 3 times this year. Once to Brewster, once to Orleans, and once against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, but they've never allowed more than that in a single game. So that'll bring up Dylan Noisy, who's also looking for his first hit of the day. Noisy is 0 for 4, strikeout and 3 flyouts.
Mariners now with 10 hits in this ball game as a quick throw over on Hal Hughes. 6 runs on 10 hits and 2 errors committed so far in the field by Harwich, but only one of them resulting in a run scored as that pitch misses in the dirt to Dylan Noisy. Be interesting to see. I think Noisy may have moved over in the field to right because that throw coming in kind of looked like a throw that might have been made by Max Marshak given his arm strength back in the last inning. We'll have to double check that as Noisy fouls that pitch off to the right. Regardless, a lot of good defense in that outfield right now with Cabrera, Noisy, and Marshak in no particular order. Conservative lead at first from Hughes, the 1-1, and Fleming's going to throw over anyways. Fleming comes set, pitch is hit hard on the ground to the left side, fielded cleanly by McLean. He'll go the short way to second, and that will end the inning. We head to the home half of the 9th. Harwich Mariners with a 6-1 lead over the Wareham Gatemen. They'll look to close things out and end their 2-game losing streak. When we come back, the Mariners will try to get those final 3 outs. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. Bottom of the 9th from Spillane Field, and Joe Boyle will get his first opportunity in quite some time. Actually, his last appearance was a start. With the 6-1 lead, he'll try to record the final 3 outs for the Mariners and give them win number 13 on the season.
Yeah, trying to remember the last time that Joe Boyle came into a game as a reliever. It was quite some time ago, as again, he came in and pitched, ironically enough, against this Wareham team. It was in the doubleheader against the Gatemen back at White House Field. So here he will come on and be tasked with trying to hold a 5-run lead. Should be more than enough here, as I believe Boyle has just given up the 1 run as a reliever. He still holds a perfect ERA on the year.
So it's back-to-back unearned run outings for Blake Espinal. He goes a clean 8th inning. Just the 1 hit allowed, no strikeouts, no walks. So Joe Boyle will try to close things out against the 8, 9, and 1 hitters, or actually the 9, 1, and 2 hitters, as first pitch to Otsuka is in for a strike.
Yep, and bringing the heat right off the bat here as, again, the fastball is going to come in at about 98 to 99 miles an hour, and then he can pull the string on you with a changeup that comes in considerably lower.
And Otsuka will foul that one straight back to fall behind 0-2. Two hours and 15 minutes so far, the length of this game. So right around the average mark, I'd say, for Cape League games this season. We've seen a couple of them dip as low as an hour 55, including that really quick game where Connor McCullough went 8 scoreless innings a couple of days ago against Chatham. 10 strikeouts as another 0-2 fouled off by Otsuka.
Yeah, Otsuka, again, just trying to fight these pitches off. There's not a whole lot that he can do about it, as, again, probably not used to seeing this kind of speed or velocity, but Boyle's bringing the heat right now, and looks like he's not going to lay off of it anytime soon.
Otsuka, a pretty good game out of the 9-hole, 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a flyout. And an off-speed pitch misses outside to make it 1-2.
Yep, really utilizing that changeup, one of his better pitches. He only works with 2 pitches, fastball, changeup, but doing a good job of mixing it in and just keeping hitters off balance.
Boyle working from the stretch. Big righty comes home, and he blows a fastball by Otsuka for a strikeout, and that is the first out of the bottom of the 9th. So back to the top of the order for the 5th time in this one, in Matthew Rudick, who's 1 for 4, looking to maybe try to spark some late heroic efforts from the Wareham Gatemen as they try to avoid their 12th loss of the season. Boyle from the stretch. First pitch misses outside. Rudick, despite hitting leadoff, only 1 steal on the season, so not a guy who will run a whole lot if he reaches base. And he lays off a pitch to step ahead in the count 2-0.
Yeah, Boyle just missing the zone here with the first couple, maybe trying to get him to chase something, but typically a guy who can kind of come in and just overpower hitters. We'll see whether he goes with that again and goes for a challenge somewhere up in the zone.
9 hits so far for the Gatemen, as that's on the outside corner for a strike, but only 1 run, as 4 of them coming in the second inning where they scored the lone run, but a great job by the Mariners to minimize the damage, and that set the stage for the offense as they were able to pick up 3 runs in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. Fastball misses outside, and then the insurance run on Nico Cavadis' 3rd home run in the 8th.
Yep, the Mariners just 2 outs away from putting this one away and breaking what was a 2-game losing streak with a good opportunity to continue things against a Bourne squad that continues just kind of floundering down there in the basement with Hyannis.
3-1 is waved at and missed by Rudick. And for the Gatemen, they are in line to drop their first game in 5 contests after a 4-game winning streak. Boyle looks in. The leg kick and the payoff pitch, it's fouled off the catcher's mitt. Winkle unable to squeeze it.
Yeah, but just as good as a strike as he'll get a full count here on Matthew Rudick, and we'll see what he comes with for the strikeout. You kind of have to just take a guess if you're the hitter. If you try to time a fastball and you get a changeup or vice versa, you're not going to be able to catch up to it. You don't have a lot of time to adjust on the fly.
From the stretch once again, the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and it's back-to-back strikeouts for Joe Boyle to begin the 9th, and he's 1 out away from clinching it for the Mariners, 2 down.
He looks just as comfortable out there back in his reliever role. One more guy to get, it'll be Darren Baker. Coming up here for a 5th time today. Baker 1 for 4.
We almost went the entire broadcast without mentioning this, but Darren Baker is the son of Hall of Fame manager Dusty Baker. Almost, as there's a hard ground ball up the middle, played by Hughes. He bobbles it, recovers in time, but it is going to be too late, and Darren Baker will reach base. We'll see how they score that one, and it's going to be the first error of the season committed by Hal Hughes.
Well, the first error committed by Hal Hughes at the shortstop position.
As far as I'm concerned, I think I checked earlier and it said a perfect fielding percentage for Hughes, so it's possible that an error might have been changed and given a hit, so I'll have to double check that, but regardless, something you don't see a lot out of Hal Hughes this season, Tyler.
Yeah, no, he's been phenomenal no matter where he plays, although he has looked a bit shaky over at second base. But at shortstop, he's been basically perfect, and I don't even know if that's necessarily an error. If he does field that ball cleanly, as this one misses high and inside, it could still be a close play at first, but they elect to go with the air, and we'll see whether or not he can bounce back here as another hitter will be coming up to the plate. It'll be Jacob Teeter.
Teeter will start the All-Star game representing the Gatemen in the West, and the 1-0 is at the knees from Boyle, 1-1. Teeter walked in the first, grounded out to second in the third, lined out to short in the fifth, and struck out swinging in the seventh. And he takes a pitch up and away to make it 2-1. So the third error of the game for the Mariners, but so far it hasn't affected them too much other than bringing the lone run across for the Gatemen. The 2-1. That's over for a strike, and the Mariners, once again, one strike away from ending it. Baker at first. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. Boyle gets the sign he's looking for. He comes set. And the 2-2 just misses outside, and the Harwich bullpen really thought that was strike 3, but instead it's a full count.
Yeah, I completely agree. That thing looked like it was right in there, but a wider strike zone here on the last pitch of the game, and they'll clap it up again out there in the bullpen out in left field.
Baker will be off with a pitch, the 3-2, and that misses low for ball 4. So for the time being, things stay alive for the Gatemen as back-to-back base runners with 2 away will bring up the cleanup man, Dallas Beaver.
Yep, still no hits yet, an error and a walk, but Dallas Beaver will come to the plate. Still a 5-run lead for the Harwich Mariners, but looking for one more out here. Beaver's been pretty good recently. He's 2 for 4 in the day. He has a double and a single in his last 2 at-bats.
Beaver with 1 home run on the season, so if he's able to put a charge into one, he might have an opportunity of making it a 2-run game with 2 away in the 9th. First pitch he sees misses from Boyle.
Really quickly, the Catuga Kettleers have gone final against the Bourne Braves, 5-0. They only score 5 runs on 13 hits, so they pick up a few of the Harwich lessons from yesterday en route to a 5-0 victory.
The 1-0, that's over for a strike. Beaver from the University of South Carolina, the Kissimmee, Florida native. So knows his way around the southeast of the United States as that pitch misses high to make it 2-1. Baker at second, Teeter at first. Boyle struck out the first 2 guys he faced, but an error and a walk have extended this game further. The 2-1. Swing and a miss in strike 2. So the Mariners on the doorstep of clinching this one once again.
Really quickly, the Brewster Whitecaps, they have to wear pants during BP and in and outs if they're under 500 or at 500. In games where that's been on the line, they are undefeated on the season.
2-2 from Boyle. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that will do it. The Harwich Mariners snap a 2-game losing streak, and they do it on the back of a 3-home-run game by Nico Cavadas to go along with 5 RBIs. The Mariners win this one from Spillane Field over the Wareham Gatemen by a final score of 6-1. When we come back, we'll wrap things up from Spillane Field. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back one last time to Spillane Field, where the Harwich Mariners knock off the top team in the Western Division, Wareham Gateman, by a final score of 6-1 behind a solid start from Jacob Polish and a huge offensive game from Nico Cavadas. Tyler, 3 home runs and 5 runs batted in. He really got the job done for Harwich.
Yeah, I mean, and again, he's kind of been carrying the steam offensively while everybody else has found their footing, and it seems like everyone's kind of finally figured it out. So we'll see whether or not the offensive explosion can continue tomorrow. As you know, also getting hits: Mike Ludwig, Chris Lanzilli, Pat Winkle, and a few other guys I neglected to mention, including Max Marshak. So it's a pretty good day, all things considered. Harwich gets the job done. But yeah, a huge performance out of Nico Cavadas. 3 home runs, 2 off of changeups, 1 off of, I believe, a fastball, and that's a good way for Harwich to break the 2-game losing streak and pick up another victory against the West.
So the Mariners, after falling behind 1-0, score 6 unanswered runs to earn their 13th win of the season. They are now 13-15 on the season and 1 point back once again of the Brewster Whitecaps. The Gatemen fall to 16-12-1 on the season, but for the time being, they remain in that top spot in the West. Mariners were able to score 6 runs on 10 hits despite committing 3 errors. They only left 4 on base. The Wareham Gatemen, with 1 run on 9 hits, 2 errors committed, and they left an astonishing 12 men on base. And Tyler, they really had a few opportunities, especially earlier in the game, that second inning when they picked up the 1 unearned run, but they couldn't do any more damage, and that really turned out to be the turning point in the game for Harwich getting out of that inning.
Yeah, it seemed like the Mariners really rebounded after that, and now the question is, can they continue the momentum as they'll face Bourne tomorrow in a game that they really need to win? They pick up a victory there, and they can stay right behind the Brewster Whitecaps. And it was another day, Colin, where 4 of the 5 teams in the West got losses and 4 of the 5 teams in the East getting victories. The only team that won in the West today was the Katuitt Kettleers, who the Harwich Mariners had a chance to beat yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see how Harwich bounces back tomorrow, and looking for their 2nd consecutive win, try to put some steam behind themselves.
Be interesting to see how that Eastern Division playoff race shakes out with, I believe, just 3 weeks left in the season, roughly, to decide it all. And so for the Mariners, Jacob Polish gets his 4th decision in as many starts this season. He improves to 3-1 and 3-0 against the Wareham Gatemen this year. He has really had their number. Loss goes to Cole Stetzer. He falls to 0-1 on the season. No save recorded. Time of this one, it was 2 hours and 22 minutes for the Harwich Mariners to beat the Wareham Gatemen by a final score of 6-1. For all of us from the Harwich Mariners broadcast booth, for our producer Matt Lucy, for my broadcast partner Tyler Henry, I'm Colin Casey. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday night of baseball. The Harwich Mariners will be back in action tomorrow at White House Field. That game beginning at 5:30 against the Bourne Braves. You can tune in once again. We'll have TV for this one, so the Harwich Mariners will try to make it a 2-game winning streak and a 2-game winning streak against the Western Division and try to even the season series against the Bourne Braves. But once again, I'm Colin Casey. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next